Mic check. All right. All right, time to take it away. All right. Let's see what we can do. All right, guys. Let me just see if I can upload the stop share. Hold on. Where are we? Where are we? Share screen. Hi, guys. This is Rap Raven. Funny enough, we're continuing the show from next week, and we've actually got. I wonder if I can share this show live. Let me try that. Hold on. How do I do that? Share. Let's see if we can test this. I'm just testing out something now, right? This is actually live with Sister Afua. Let's see. Does that work? Can you guys hear that? I'm just testing it out. I'm just testing it out. Do I have to turn it up? Oh, I've muted. Hold on.
I'm so sorry about that.
Now I'm sure you can hear that. What I'm doing, I'm just testing to see if I can share people's lives on the stream. I think I can this way.
Yeah, absolutely. If you try to get that person back or hit them, retaliate on behalf of your child. Okay.
All right, so let me mute that for a minute. Yeah. So I don't know if you can hear that, but this is Sister Afua. She runs a show, and she her thing is to highlight stories of when black sisters and children are being abused. And we used the video from Sister last week to start it. Not very clear. As in what are you saying the audio is not clear? Are you saying the video is it jumping around? Because I've muted that at the moment. Let me know. I'm gonna unmute. Let me know if you can hear this. I'm just testing to see if you can run someone else's live stream for your stream.
Let's look out for these people. Let's not be quick to defend people that you're not there on their shoulder every minute of every day. You know, nobody can tell me, even your own child, you don't see them every minute of every day. And there are men in our community, you know, if what these sisters are saying are true, and here on this platform, we believe it is true, this Toba and this Mr. Play proceed with.
So you're saying the video is not clear, but is the audio clear when I've unmuted it? Video a bit better, says Brother IC3. I've just played the audio. Oh, let me not pause it. Hold on.
With caution, my sisters.
Oops, days. I've messed the thing up now.
How are you going to feel if you have a daughter and she grows up, Toba, and you decide, somebody decides.
Let me tell you that. All right, so I was just testing family. This is Sister Afua's page. I just wonder if we could actually run other people's lives through your live. Just saying. So yeah, we started a conversation. What we started about? Is there certain things we should talk about publicly? Obviously, Sister Afua is very public about. The audio is good. That's because it's probably running through my mic. So that's good. So right now, currently, Sister Afua was live, or this seems the lives can run. But this will probably segue into the topic we started last week. As you know, we went for 4 hours. Funny enough, I just found out that I can't actually. Let me change this for now. Let me share screen. Wait. Where are we? Let's go to stop screen and then share screen and then where's the other one? Let's try this one. Voila! Look at that over there. It's just another way. Ta-da. All right, so guys, this is the 86th show of the Betterment Broadcast. And I'm your host. Now, normally we go through the intro. So, unfortunately, black people are collectively inadequate. And that's why we have a show trying to fix the collective inadequacies of black people, the family, the group. Hopefully, we can find solutions. But last week, we started the show and it went on for like 4 hours or so. And normally our shows are anywhere from 1 hour to 2 hours. But actually, I found that through our subscription that we can't even really sustain the 4-hour show every week because I think I only have like 20 hours a month or something, unless I upgrade something. So it looks like when we get carried away, there's actually limitations. Isn't that great? All right, so maybe we have to upgrade, but we'll see what happens. But so today we're going to be continuing last week's show. Now, obviously, I don't like to skip the intros because when I skip the intros, people say it wasn't warned. So basically, we're gonna invite people on. When we do talk to each other, let's have the 4D values, which is discipline, dedication, discernment, very important one there. Discernment, the ability to notice the fine point details, the ability to judge something well, or the ability to understand and comprehend something. Very important we understand that. And also dignity. We want to have a dignity, the state or quality of being worthy of honor and respect. So when we say that next day family, people jump on, please remember these things: discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. We're going to practice them and try not to use derogatory language. I'm sure we won't, but just not do that. Now, for those who don't know, Black Betterment is a lifestyle of black people helping black people on black issues for betterment. That's what it is. All right. So we will be showing some videos. So we'll be using the Section 107 of Copyright Act 1976. Don't know if that's American based or internet based. Who knows? But the content will not be of our uploading, and we haven't blackified it, so we're coming in raw. And also we've showed some of Sister Afro's page to highlight what she's doing as well, which is the copyright is to her. Also, please don't forget. Black Batman Building is the Instagram page. Take your time to like this today on this page. Press like, doesn't take too much. And also follow that. That's where we'll be promoting all the stuff. What we have now, let's keep going for that one. Yep, it's good. So, what are today's topics? It is what challenges should the black community not discuss publicly? So last week we were talking about is there certain things that we should keep within house? And I think when it came to the concept of like women and children being abused, people feel that maybe this is something that if we can't contain in house, we should go public just to get awareness and support from people. Now, funny enough, what I was showing before was Sister Afro's page, and she deals with this week to week. Go follow her. And right now, she's actually speaking to a young. Looks like she's. I'm looking at her live as I'm seeing now. So she's speaking to a lady. They usually talk about abuse cases. So this is like, me being spontaneous. Hold on. Share. Let's see if I can jump back. Share. Stop share. Hold on. Share. Screen. There we go. So let's see if we can hear what Sister Afro was saying. Where's the turn on button?
People just. We're talking about the Karens, of course, aren't we? Those types.
Yes. When they start crying, everybody runs up to them, even though they're perpetrators, they're violent. As soon as the acid tears fall, everyone is like falling for them and comforting them and saying, no, and then they can even convince you to feel sorry for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've come across a lot of that in my workplace. When I used to manage teams in those days, you get different problems that you have to do.
So what's happening now, family? Sister Afro was talking to people live, and we're just checking her out because I'm sure the things she talked about will correlate with what we're talking about today. She will bring up certain topics that we will discuss. Should we talk about them live or behind the scene? And I think we were talking about last week that some of the sisters feel that we have to come out because there's some people that have nowhere to turn. The abuse is high and we're unaware of it. And some people might feel that don't come out. See if you can fix it in house. We're going to discuss that. To find out what is best. I've got some videos. So let me see what they're still talking about.
All the sympathy in the world, and it's just annoying. I'm fed up with their fake tip. No matter how nice they are, crying.
Sounds like they're talking about
Everything seems to be on their side and win. And they can even convince you to feel sorry for them when they're in the wrong.
Now, what Sister Afro also talks about is highlighting that black women have like the least defense, unfortunately, and are probably at least listened to. And we're going to listen to some videos today that might correlate with that. We've got 1 or 2 videos for us to listen to.
I wager that she probably does, Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm okay. Nervous, but okay.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Not too bad at all.
All right. So I'm a parent of one of the mums. Oh, sorry, I'm one of the mums of one of the girls that got attacked by Mr. Play.
Okay. Thank you, sis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does want to come on. Yeah, but also because of everything that has been said and everything, and because, it's a lot to take on.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's just struggling with a lot of that, but I'm speaking for her.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, so
Let me turn that for a bit. So if I don't know what happens is victims or alleged victims go on the sister's channel, and they talk about their ordeal, and they talk about what they've been through, and they name the victimizer, or the accused victimizer. So that's what Sister Afro's show deals with. And right now there's a woman who's confessing that her daughter has been abused by a particular person. Very, 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 I don't use the cutting edge, but very in your face tactics of exposing and stuff. But it does correlate with what we're doing. And, you know, do people feel protected? Do people feel they have, are they listened to? Do they feel the men in the community are protecting them and this kind of stuff? So what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to jump to the videos. Let me just hear what this is saying for 5 seconds.
We can hear you now, my sis. Thank you, sis. Thank you for coming on and
This is all live, by the way.
representing your daughter. Thank you so much. I think it's a crying shame that she feels unsupported by her community in that way. You know, I'm really disgusted by the backlash. I think you might have muted it. Yeah, I can hear you, sis.
All right, cool. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
She just.
We're breaking up a little bit, but we'll stick with it.
Well, let me turn that. We're going to go to our videos now, right? But what I got the gist of that is I think the sister doesn't necessarily feel supported in the community. And that's something we can unpack. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to, where are we? I came across 2 videos. There's a group called, I think this was on the, my voice, I need some water. I seriously need some water. So what I'm going to do, let me play an advert I saw that was on a sister's page about abuse. So let's press play.
It's okay.
Rewind. There you go. Trigger warning. Views of domestic stuff going on. So this trigger warning.
It's okay. We'll look after you from here now. We've taken him into custody. I'm sorry, but without more evidence, there's not a lot we can do.
Our bruises may not be as obvious, but the threat is just as deadly.
Sorry, I won't do it again. I'm so sorry. No, I love you. I'm sorry. I promise I really love you.
Valerie's Law will make cultural competency training mandatory for police officers, so that those responsible for all of our safety know how to protect all of us equally.
This is Valerie's Law. This is like highlighting that, you know, black women feel, well, there's evidence to show that women are not believed as much, or maybe not as protected and this kind of stuff, which is never good. Hence why we practice Black Betterment. And they're trying to pass a law to make sure that they minimize that as best they can. That's Valerie's Law. And now this is I think a BBC, or maybe some kind of broadcast on this channel.
Racism.
Rewind.
As you're tackling the same questions or the same issues as Harriet just laid out for us.
Okay, well, Sister Space is a charity for African and Caribbean heritage.
This is Ngozi Faluni, and she's the CEO of Sister Space. As you can see there, if you bother read it, yep, it is there, Newsnight. And I went on her page. We should invite the sister on at one point. I'll message her if she does any kind of interviews and stuff. It'd be good to get her on.
Women and girls affected by domestic and sexual abuse. And I've heard some things tonight that concern me, because missing from the misogyny is racism, which plays a massive part. I mean, I went to the vigil on Saturday with my daughter and some of the Sister Space colleagues. And when we got there, just like any other woman, mother, human being, we were really concerned when we heard that Sarah went missing.
So for those who are joining, just a quick synopsis update. We're basically asking, let me read it correctly so I don't get it wrong. What challenges should the black community not discuss publicly? Last week, there's a continuation of last week's show where some people felt that maybe there's certain things you shouldn't talk about, and some people felt, no, you should talk about certain things. So, and the things it tends to stem around is like the safety of women and children, domestic abuse, victims of assault, sexual assault, and this kind of stuff. Very terrible things we're trying to eradicate from the community. And also a feeling not being supported and not protected. Is that warranted? So, we're looking at some videos now that talk about similar-esque things and people talk in the public in a certain way. And we're just using a case study, forgive me, tongue twist. And yeah, we're gonna take up. Last time we went for 4 hours. We're gonna try to not go for 4 hours today, because we have limited time apparently. But yeah, let's have a listen to the sister from Sister Space.
We all felt it. We all wanted her to return home safely. We thought we were going to a vigil that was about all women collectively, and we found that that isn't the case.
Now, let me stop the sister there. One thing we show about Betterment is, unfortunately, whenever black people come together with any other people group, regardless whether it's veganism, any form of religion, sexism, homosexuality, eating pumpkins, whether it might be, as time goes by, you're going to find that naturally people of African descent, black people, Afro descendants, Negroes, that group, the IC3s and that kind of stuff, you will find that that group will slowly become at the bottom of the needs list. And that is why we promote a lifestyle known as Black Betterment, which is black people helping black people on black issues. That is the only solution I can see currently. Other people's solutions is talking to the other groups and maybe begging and pleading that that they're aware of the pain, but unfortunately that hasn't happened thus far. So the best option is Black Betterment, but let's carry on listening.
I mean, we're looking at Valerie Ford, Nicole Smallman, Biba Henry. Those are the women who were murdered. 2 of those women only last year had their pictures taken when they were deceased by a police officer. Where was the outcry? Where was the outrage? Yes? I mean, there were so many things wrong with Saturday. Yes, we saw the attacks. The police were outrageous. They were just aggressive. They were grouping up in groups of about 12 and 15 and planning their attack, going in, dragging the women out. Now, this isn't something I heard or I read. I saw it. But what I also saw is that it seems that black women who go through domestic abuse or who are missing or are murdered, we don't get the same response. We don't get the outcry, and we don't get the concern. We didn't see the public coming out for us. And that was an eye-opener for many of us. And when we talk about statistics, whose statistics? Whose? Because nobody's not coming to ask us anything. When they make their decisions, domestic abuse bill, nobody consults us. I think they consult BAME, whatever that is.
Oh, there you go. I was together now. All right. So, yeah. Let me actually. So I don't waste no time. Let me throw out the link. Last time I threw the link, people. Whoopsie. Last time I threw out the old link, and so people went into a paradox time warp where they couldn't get in, and no one said. Shame on them. So we had no idea. What is this, man? Where's the thing gone? Come on. This is just crazy. Look, I've lost the, hold on, give me 17 seconds. Got 17 seconds to go. Where is it? Hold on. Where's it gone? This is funny. Hold on. Guys, I hope you can still hear me. This is funny stuff. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, sorry. I completely lost the thing. There you go. Link. Yeah, so I've posted it. Feel free to jump in, guys. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna segue into Sister Afro. Because it's live, we can do this. We're gonna segue to Sister Afro's page. Matter of fact, you can probably hear if I just turn up. Hold on, let me turn up.
Please make.
So you can probably hear that. Yeah. Hello. Oh, maybe. Oh, hold on. Turn it up.
It's not on. It's not okay.
This automatic thing is annoying.
It's got to stop, and their time is up. It's done.
Absolutely. And you know, the people that are defending him as well, I bet they don't know that he has a conviction.
No, I'm for sure they don't know he has a conviction.
Of course they don't. It's an individual that doesn't mind, and by all accounts, you know, was the ringleader in this situation.
Yeah.
Back then, he was the ringleader in setting up this gang rape. Apparently, you know, I've been told that by a few people. He was the ringleader, and he was convicted,
So we're analyzing Sister Afro Rose's page, and what she does is she gets testimonies from sisters who have been abused, and then she puts them live to aid the case, or to name and shame, or to get a rally behind the defenseless, the voiceless. That is the goal, you know. And she's come across harsh Christians in one area, but also great praise in other areas. But this, yeah, I can hear now. Oh, excellent, good. Yeah, so we're talking about is there certain things that we should keep within the community, or is it when certain people commit certain crimes, then they're no longer within the fold, and we have to have a outing process, whatever. This is what we're going to be discussing. I've sent the link out. Feel free to jump in. What we're going to do as well, I got a barber conversation. Let me before I go there, see if there's anything to talk about.
It's a very fixed thing. Once you're heterosexual, you're heterosexual. Once you're gay, you're gay. You know, once your freak or your predilection is about overpowering women, why do people think that just goes away with age?
Yeah, exactly.
It actually doesn't, like you said, it evolves.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And
so they're talking about that. So what we're going to do now, more power to Sister Afro. There you go, big up Sister Afro. She's been on the show a few months ago when she was starting the campaign, I think, in Brixton. So we invited her on to just explain what that was about, and how the community can support. Where are we? So there's a barber shop talk here now. Now I think one of the brothers is trying to talk about how women feel. This is America, so let's. There was a certain bit I wanted to go to, but probably I'm able to find it.
Do you think I heard black women say that they don't feel that black men protect them. Have you heard this?
Do you sisters feel that black men protect you or not? Good thing to talk about. Do you feel that black men understand you? Men in general? It's something we have to discuss. Well, let's say what these brothers in America and the barber are saying.
Ma'am, do you agree with this? Do you agree with this?
I mean, that's false as crap, because I feel like we're the most feared men on earth.
I mean, that's a broad statement.
No, I'm agreeing. It's definitely a broad statement, but so do you agree with no? Or no?
No.
So why do you think that they feel that way?
Insecurity.
Oh, that's tough. I think what black women are saying, of course in their relationships maybe, but I believe they're saying also as a whole. So examples like, okay.
You have to absorb the barber's body language and how he describes, because once again, we might have situations where people are in completely different worlds and perceive things differently.
Okay. We call our women bitch. We call our women the B word. We call them, you know what I'm saying? Like the way we represent them as a whole, right? No, listen. And look, so when I first saw the post,
you know what I'm saying? I gotta interrupt. Let me interrupt this one.
Let me get my point out first.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
When I first saw the post, I got offended. Like, you know, every woman in my life, like my wife, my mom, my kids, I respect them wholeheartedly. My kids don't hear me call my wife out her name. I got mad when I saw it on Facebook. But then,
so let's unpack two things here. One thing is, when it comes to protecting women, many men always default to daughter, maybe wife, and mother. It's good that you have an automatic defense of these people. It would be most alarming if we didn't, and I suspect there are people who that isn't part of their makeup, so that they might be that way inclined. But generally, it would be most alarming if you wasn't trying to defend your daughter, mother, or wife. But I think some women are talking about just as a whole, as a collective, in your presence, awareness, and I think that's something that you want to be aware of when we're speaking about that. Like to always go, I protect my mum and my daughter. I would hope so. I would hope so.
I was reading the comments, because I feel like when you let a...
Also, before I forget, black men getting upset or angry, not as upset, but enraged to hear the perceptions of black women. That's something we need to work on. Even if the black women are 1,010% wrong in their analysis, to be enraged isn't the best first response. I would recommend the first response is concern and listening, or whatever the word for listening might be, right? That's what I would recommend. So if your first reaction when a woman confesses that she doesn't feel safe or this kind of thing is anger, that could then contribute towards that feeling. Remember, discernment is important, intelligence is important. So let's just use that.
Victim vent, you get their perspective. And I learned that in my relationship. Like, you know how when you fight with your spouse, you want to get your point out so bad, but I'm learning to listen. So I kind of get how. So I always said this, right? And I know I'm sounding like super Captain Save-'em right now, but the truth is this. We made women, and I'm about to get so much hell for this in the comments, but I believe that we made women okay with...
That's another thing. The fear of being labeled a certain thing. If you use a talking point or from a woman perspective or a woman's perspective or something, he's working that as well.
It being okay for them to be called bitches. They took, hold on, listen. They took the term and they adapted.
Excuse the language.
Bad bitches, right? Now let me tell you. No, hold on, but listen. This is how I came.
I like
about.
where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Because look, a while ago when this shit started happening in the 90s, a woman wants to please a man, just like a man wants to please a woman. So if I see that you want to call me, that's my bitch. Like when niggas be like, that's my bitch.
So obviously they're going through how language might contribute to perceptions and stuff. And the language we use needs to be reviewed, especially from the music scene and some of the brothers and sisters in the States and some of the brothers and sisters in England. Let's send that link if anyone wants to jump in as you press play.
Oh, my bitch bad. Yeah, you got it right.
It's all cool.
No, yeah. Eventually.
So the barber man, he's obviously culturalized to this kind of concept, but he wasn't really gelling well with the complaints that the sisters were having.
At first, like, stop calling me a bitch, but eventually, just like species evolve, women took the word. You know what? Fuck it. They gonna call me a bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch. Now you got Megan Thee Stallion. So
like what this guy's this is actually a form of benchmark rebranding. For those who don't know, where there was a benchmark we had, but it's now being rebranded somewhere else. So if derogative terms towards black people are accepted and it's okay, just do it, then now you move the benchmark. So, and it's also that thing of talking about non-black people now will use these terms towards black people. All these terms that come out for the music and for the TV programs and the radio or whatever. And I always say that we have to have a challenge that rather than using the N-word, which is nigger, why don't we have people call people black gods or black kings or whatever it might be, right? And let's see if they still want to use that term. You see, so if we were to automatically change the word nigger with black kings or black queens, or let's just say that's the word, just a social experiment, would non-black people want to use that so frequently when they want to have a throwaway term? Because in that term, you're highlighting royalty, divinity, high status, and it cannot be segued to anyone else. So when a European or a white person calls another white person the N-word, they can say, no, it's just language, I'm tapping into the culture. But we know on a psychological level that is a derogative term towards black people exclusively, right? So if you then to replace that with the word black king or black queen or whatever, let's see if they'll do that anyway. So let's see if a white person will call another white person a white queen or white king. So that means even through their language, they are deifying black people as a general. So it's just certain psychological things we have to understand. Make sure the okie-doke isn't being placed on black people as it tends to be consistently. Press play.
So when it comes to the protection, I think they look at how we represent them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking from my culture. You know
now you saying as we represent them as a whole, or just as a
whole? Like, my bitch this. Or this bitch.
They did that hot girl summer shit. So I mean,
but you got to go back in history though.
Yeah.
You got to go back in history. The hot girl summer, of course. But again, we made that shit cool for them.
They made it cool for themselves. Because if your homegirl can call you bitch.
Welcome to the show, Empress Christie. I'm just gonna play a bit of this. Welcome. There's one bit I want. There's something.
No problem.
Okay, it's cool. No, it's cool. It's cool. Well, it's always good to see Empress Christie on the live. There was I'm gonna start by a certain bit, but it was something that the barber said that I can't remember. But when I hear it, I'll remember it. So this is for a minute or so.
This bitch dead.
But listen to what I just said though.
So this barber is defending, he wasn't too keen on the complaints that black women had, it seemed, and now he's defending the cultural names of, what people call each other, which you get a lot. And obviously, people to defend people, they do say, we tried to culturally change the B word and the N word and all these other words to be empowerment. I think there's a new way we could do that, but let's carry on.
They start calling themselves bitches after we kept calling them bitches. Now,
I feel like they started the bitch shit. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you.
So women start calling themselves bitches?
I mean, technically it went back further, but I'm pretty sure it just became a cool word for that's my bitch. You know what I'm saying? That's my homegirl. Homegirl is now bitch. Like,
but did you know?
Or best friend is just now I'm bitch. So it's just like the word bitch is now.
Sometimes people need to step out themselves and see themselves speaking to see, the hypocrisy of what they're saying. And don't get me wrong, there's truth to what his brother is saying. This has been culturalized, but it is a version of benchmark rebranding. And all this holistically could contribute towards the feeling of how a people group feels. But let's carry on.
I'll turn into a friend, homegirl type of friendly stuff, but when we say it, it's a negative situation.
I'm gonna tell you why. You wanna know why? Because you can't choose to be the king sometimes, and you can't choose to lead sometimes. Let me tell you what I mean. If it takes for us to change the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, men be saying we want to lead shit up and down.
Very good point there. This bleeds into other content, but generally, men, rather than complaining and this kind of stuff, leading and changing, you are the front line of that. So that's a good point that brother's made.
I want to be the leader, but at the same time, you make the change first.
Yeah.
Very true. The reason why this is very poignant and important is because when we're going to start talking to women and men about issues and understandings from a different perspective, the challenge will come down who is going to be the first person to have to play the listening and directing. And that means in order to lead, you have to listen. And that's one of the challenges I push to the Black Men Collective when it comes to communicating with the sisters. If you want to lead, you have to listen.
If she see you calling her queen, if she see you calling her by a more positive name instead of derogatory name, derogatory.
Yep, good point there. If the sisters and brothers see you using productive names towards them, it will become trendified, and non-black people will try to. Funny enough, I actually wanted to download something. Let me see if I can find that. I'm gonna play so I can find it as we download.
Okay. You know what the fuck I'm trying to say. Then it evolves back to positive. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think a woman wants, in certain situations, wants to be led by a man.
Mm-hmm.
In certain situations. Now I want to make sure I say that. So yeah, back to the women feeling unprotected. I just think the way we represent our black women in society sometimes.
All right, now back to that part. That's perfect. That's a great example. Now, when you say how you say women feel disrespected because they say we don't, save them or protect them,
they don't feel protected.
Right, you don't feel protected. Like, how do you not feel protected? That's why I say when a woman has, that's why I say I need a great woman's perspective of like how you not feel protected. Because 9 out of 10, if you're with a man, you should feel protected.
I think that really started with parties like when the protests started happening. So many women started being disrespected by like law enforcement or whatever.
Okay.
Well,
that's what I started seeing too.
Another thing too,
I agree with that.
A lot of our women now are being more aggressive than our men are.
No, but I'm gonna say. So if you see a black woman,
do you think that black men are protected though?
So you can see that the barber, I guess he's the barber. The barber is very man-centric, very every single thing seems to correlate to the woman's choosing. There's absolutely no responsibility or a giveaway. He does it in a nice tone, I guess, but you can see, and while the brother sitting down is trying to give perspective and take a certain level of responsibility.
Because we are very protective, definitely over what we you know.
No, he said, do you think they're being
unprotected?
Unprotected?
We're unprotected for sure.
Unprotected as fuck.
It don't get no worse than that.
Well,
I
shit,
still don't see how women can say that though.
But do you want? Okay, let's be real. My wife, I know she's gonna stand up, but I don't want my fucking wife protecting me like that. I'm not even wanting to put herself in danger. But I know she would.
I mean,
excuse the language, but yeah. But and I think when men are speaking about women and stuff, this I don't know if anyone wanting protection from women. Don't know what that means. I understand maybe like, I mean, we have to break that down. But once again, men need to review the roles we play in society and how and that dynamic rainbow.
Yeah, that's good.
So, okay, who protects the black man? Who's supposed to protect the black man?
We protect ourselves.
I think, bro. So I'm gonna tell you something though.
You seen the movie King?
Listen.
And Queen.
Tigers and lions.
For sure. But I'm gonna tell you something, bro. Black women. I'm gonna tell you something about black women. I don't know a lot about all these other races. Mm-hmm. I know a black woman gonna talk her shit.
Yes, sir.
It takes a real man to lead a black woman, a strong black woman. But when a black woman fall in love with you, listen, bro. I know my black woman.
It's hard to get it unfollowed.
Not even that. She bro, a black woman gonna talk shit for you. She gonna look out for you. If your burger not right, and you said, baby, let's just leave. No, we go back in there real quick. We were supposed to have 2 letters on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I gotta disagree. I think the black man has to protect the black man. It starts with our image and how we respect ourselves. But that's a whole different deep conversation. I get what you're saying though.
Very good point. Self-respect, dignity is one of the 4 Ds. How this will contribute how people perceive you, how you perceive yourself, how the women perceive you, and it's a holistic change. To carry on this because he's still one thing he says that I want to jump on.
I'm saying I think I don't know, man.
Meanwhile, I've actually found the other video where it's taking time to download, so but we found it. There's this correlates with what these brothers are saying to an extent.
I get what black women are saying. Like I said, I was offended at first. But if you see a black woman in the street getting disrespected by some white supremacists, are you gonna jump in if you don't know her?
Hell yeah.
Nah.
See, that's it.
Hold on, it depends.
Let's say that the brother just asked him a question. Let's just rewind so we can hear that again. And funny enough, I didn't notice the brother in the background actually answered, which is interesting. Hold on, let's hear that again. So there's 2 brothers who answer. One's in the background. He's not mic'd up, but the barber man is mic'd up in this situation.
Some white supremacists, are you gonna jump?
And then let's rewind this a teeny bit more. Hold on.
I think I don't know, man. I get what black women are saying. Like I said, I was offended at first. But if you see a black woman on the street getting disrespected by some white supremacists, are you gonna jump in if you don't know her?
Hell yeah.
Nah.
See, that's it.
Hold on, it depends on what
you got to see the situation. So you just gonna dumbly jump yourself into a gunfight without a gun?
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Like some shit, just like
okay.
Let's break it down. So what the brother asks is if he sees if he sees a sister being disrespected or attacked or whatever by a white supremacist, so he used a very strong term, white supremacist. Are you gonna do anything? And the brother says no. Now, what's interesting? The brother said he then went to I guess he wanted more context, but he went to the most extreme that the white supremacist, a gun toting villain or whatever might be. Right? But the reason why it's important. Go ahead. Do you want to add?
Yeah, bro. I really wanted to add a point on this because it started off with him answering the question: are black women that he's getting annoyed with? The barber was getting annoyed with the question of are black women protected, right? Or they don't feel protected. Yeah. And I wanted to say on the earlier point when you stopped it is that the first question that comes out by the guy at the back or him was, well, are black men protected? Do you know, just like deflection automatically. And it was just, I felt that the guy who was speaking, he portrays himself as a family man. He said he's got a wife and kids and things like that. So it's interesting where he's got invested interest in making sure that the black women's mentality is of sound mind, if that makes sense, and they are protected, and understanding where they come from and understanding why that is a mutual thing, a beneficial thing for both parties, that the black woman feels protected, or we at least listen to find out why. But when he did start talking, you could just see what I think is a typical pattern where they start you know, well, the black man ain't protected. Well, of course we ain't protected. Well, yeah, no, you know what I mean? And then you can see the guy in the chair just kind of going lower and lower, and just like, okay, I know the vibe of where this is going now. So they had to kind of deflect back. So I just thought that was typical and telling in this, but very interesting. And then when they finally asked, okay, if you saw a black, he asked the question, okay, if you see a black woman and she needs protection, would you protect her? No. It's just like, okay. Well, that's what they're talking about. Because like you said, they said the white supremacists, they didn't even say a police officer or anything like that. They said if you saw her with a white supremacist, would you do anything? It's like, nah. Just nah.
This is the antagonist of the black people, right? So if
it's
you
the
see
gaslighting of the black woman, isn't it? It's the don't complain about anything, but then we'll talk about it and laugh about the same thing and justify your complaint and just make it as a joke. It's gaslighting.
It's definitely something that we need to. Well, I'm gonna have to call out, and I am, and I've been around certain things. I remember in Speaker's Corner asking the question. Unfortunately, some of these things never got in. But it was, you know, I did ask some brothers, like, would you, if you walked in, I pretty much asked the same thing. And the same response was given by one of the brothers. And it's, whatever, right? So it's something we have to unpack. And it is a holistic changing. Let's listen if he adds anything more to it before I jump to the next video.
Think about it, that's a problem with this as well.
I guess he's going to try to give a context, I assume.
The other day, a lot of us are into minding our own business. You know what I'm saying? If it ain't got nothing to do with us, we're going to stay out of it. You know?
Now, this is what I'm saying about black men and leadership, right? You see, what you got to understand is when these questions are asked, essentially, you are your own story director. Like a person gives you a plot and he goes, you see a woman being attacked, black woman being attacked by the antagonist of black people, right? The actual direct enemies of black people there. And the question is, what do you do? He then has a chance to say, he can say, well, I jump in, I call my friends, I make sure she's safe. I do whatever needs to do, whatever it might be, right? And I chase him out. But what he does, he goes, oh, well, you know, he's probably got a machine gun. He's probably got a helicopter. He's probably, taking some super space age drug to make him immortal. The story that like, you are in control of the story you tell there, right? He chose to give this antagonist guns, invulnerability, whatever it might be, right? And that's the mindset you're dealing with. Yeah, the mindset. And if that's how you are going down, perceiving every single interaction, then obviously that might contribute to why many sisters might feel unprotected, because that's your natural reaction rather than actually, you know, the interesting thing is if you were to change the story to like, I don't know, some man came up to you and was looking at you and called you a punk, would you fight him? And then if the answer was yes, then wouldn't you be the same? What if he also was a gun-wielding cyberpunk Terminator? Do you know what I mean? So it's a very interesting mindset that some men find themselves in. Let's listen to what happens.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how a lot of black people have been living throughout the years. So you really got to look at it. And then
I'm going to be real with you, bro.
Go ahead.
I saw a post on Facebook. I'll be on Facebook like, oh, shit. It was in a restaurant, and this white man was going hard on this black woman in front of her son. And I'm just like, I can't tell you that I couldn't just watch that, bro.
Okay, I
see my mom, I see my sisters.
Yeah. That's different.
Huh? No, she was a grown woman, but he was a grown man. Like, but I'm like,
how old was the son?
No, he was going bad on the woman. But the son was like 9.
Oh, yeah,
you know, I can't tell you that I could turn the cheek. You know what I'm saying? But at the same
no, I understand that as a point, but we're talking about like physically with the woman, like the incident that happened downtown, matter of fact, in the what's called, where a girl was fighting with the dude with the gun in the situation, and she ended up getting beat up or whatever real bad, and he had pulled out the pistol on her, and everybody was recording, but when nobody, helping her not get beat up type stuff, you know what I'm saying? And that was a lot of stuff like our rappers and stuff trying to look at.
But if you see somebody, you said you wouldn't, I get it because they got guns, but if, God forbid, one of the lovely women in your life is getting assaulted by, and you're not there, would you want a brother to step up and protect her?
Yeah, definitely.
So how you gonna say you wouldn't?
Depending on the situation and circumstances, bro, you gotta see what is there. So you just gonna run out there and get your ass shot by somebody for no reason. I'll call the police and inform it. I'm gonna go try to distill all the situations.
I'm strategic, I'm not finna go run and jump in front of nothing like that. I'm not gonna go dive into it. You gotta be smart. It's like playing chess. But at the same time, I can't tell you I'm turning the cheek.
I'm not gonna turn the cheek. I'm gonna just, you know, if I can just how you say it? Just escalate the situation. There you go. De-escalate the situation.
But that's
I can do it.
Something though.
You know, I mean, but it's technically not doing anything with actually, you know, making me go to jail. Cause now is the day, bro. We can just go hop on a dude now and say all this shit. You still going.
So once again, it's the whole story. You know, the question is a black woman has been unjustly beaten by a man, and now the story is about him going to jail and stuff. Once again, he is the author of this story. He could have retold the story as I jump in. I placed the white supremacists under citizen's arrest, and then I'm now the hero with a gold medal. Because no one's dictating to him how the story ends, but he's choosing his mindset. He's going for worst case scenario. And if that's the case, I feel sorry for many other brothers who do this because it is a defeatist attitude. That you could interpret it that way. Some might say it's a surviving attitude, and you're probably right there. Maybe people like this might survive longer. Who knows? But let's see.
I'm not telling you to be no crash dummy. I'm telling you, would you help step in?
But in that situation, how could you be? You know, I mean, dude over here fighting the girl,
huh?
She helpless. She gets beat up.
So one other thing, especially with roadmen and stuff like that, what you can always ask is if any roadmen, proclaimed roadmen, talk similar to this. If you ask them if if a situation happened where two other people you didn't know were caught and one person gave information on the other person, would that be okay? Naturally, from road people, their gut instinct is no, it's not okay. And you can say, yeah, but you don't know the person, it doesn't affect you. No, this is not okay. It's not okay. It doesn't matter. It's just principle, right? Well, that same principle, it'll work in our collective best interest if the principle was no black woman or child should be harmed. As a principle, as the gut reaction, that's no, it shouldn't happen. If I say I'm going to stop it, yeah, or I'm going to do something, rather than telling a story about, you know, what if this happens, what if that happens.
At that point, I got to jump in that.
I'm not saying I got to go ahead and get off whatever. Yeah, that's cool.
If I see some, you know.
And also, what I would like other people to do, if you can, I want you to find non-black people, Asian, Jewish, you name it, right? Doing the same thing, this kind of barbershop scene where someone is passionately describing the act of not defending their women. Just if we can see, so we can just do a case study just to compare like for like. It'll be very interesting. So I'm just gonna carry on listening.
I'm saying, fucking nigger and this and that. You know, I gotta,
we gotta attack that. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't even gotta do that. You gotta play chess with it. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't like you. I've never seen a black woman lose to a white supremacist. That's another reason why I say I wouldn't really. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, our black women are strong now. You know?
That is.
Oh no.
This is almost like it was written. Now at this point, it's like it's written at this point. And let's carry on listening. This is. Yeah, I haven't listened this far into the video, so I didn't know he was going to say that. But I mean, it's literally going downhill from.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just another thing too.
Now, once again, this collective thought could be why so many black women decide to take things in their own hand. If that's how the men are being either raised, or they're seeing that, or this concept is promoted. It's essentially what you're saying is the enemies of black people are choosing to attack the women in your group, and your response is the women in your group are strong enough to defend themselves. It's once
but
again,
in his story, when it came to him, there was no way he could win, right? Like you were saying, like you articulated perfectly. But when it came to the black women, you know what? I think they'll win.
Yeah. So this, but what we have to do is we have to do like for like. So if anyone can show me an Asian man, a Jewish man, an Indian man doing the same thing about his women, I just want to see if they describe their women the same. Very important. Remember we started the show about unfortunately black people are collectively inadequate. So this statement must be backed up with proof and evidence, or it's just falsehood. So if anyone can just get me that kind of documentation, so we can do a case study. But let's carry on listening until we show the next one.
Still a woman, but all women now can hold our own. They have this. That's another thing back with equal rights too, because they're equal equality. They talk more than us men do.
Okay, so he says they talk more than us men do. That's nothing to brag about. That's that shows that maybe some men are not talking enough.
I think that now that we give them that she a strong black woman, some men think that's a cue to ease up off the gas on protection.
I mean, that's what they want us to do.
No, they don't.
And well, of course.
I think women want to be.
They figured that out. They figured that out. Okay, maybe I might want you to be the man.
No,
because they might cannot handle every situation. Every time they jump into a new face.
Respected. I think women never wanted to say you niggas just.
All this goes in with women feeling like we can't protect them due to their situation. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
All that goes into it. And then it's just like the whole point of how black women feel that way. Us men also feel the same way as black women. Y'all discriminate us down to the motherfucking T. We did.
Now, one thing as men, we really want to, and it's a controversial view here, but we really want to think about this kind of boogeyman woman thing we create where women have the power to really oppress men. I'm not talking about young children and motherly abuse and this kind of stuff. I'm more talking about as a grown man and grown women. This conversation, I find it hard that it could even exist where our men, and I've noticed it maybe on Clubhouse and this kind of stuff where you have a very esque black man rambling, and it almost comes from the sense of powerlessness. Like, I've been given the microphone, so I'm just gonna rant, not understanding the powers I have. And I guess maybe a lot of certain black men are not aware of the kind of powers black men have, just as a basic principle. And this could be correlating to that.
Dead beats, we all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? We
stop that. You gotta stop that
shit, bro.
I don't think
that's the difference. All women now, they talk down on us black men a lot.
Where are you getting your facts?
What do you mean? Black sisters, what is you saying?
Bro, you telling me that most black women think that black men...
I didn't say most. They have those. What do you mean? I see them out here.
Where?
I see them on the phone. Hell, let's have your stylists. You know what I'm saying? These women are independent and strong, bro. They mouse. We have alpha women. There we go. We have, you know how we have alpha men? We have alpha females.
And it takes an alpha male to deal with an alpha female.
My point exactly.
Bro,
but are y'all going to clash at a point in time?
Huh?
Are y'all going to clash at a point in time?
That's where respect comes in. Look, my wife, listen, talk about alpha. Look, I don't. If you can't, again, back to being a crash dummy. Mm-hmm. You got to know how to play certain situations. Mm-hmm. You got to know when. Bro, being a leader is not about who got the biggest chest, bro. Yeah. A leader is smart and strategic. When you're dealing with a strong woman, a strong man not gonna just, I told you to do this, sit down.
Yeah.
You gotta play smart. Yeah, but see, you can stand your ground and still be submissive though. Submissive is not like, we're not talking about 1970 submissive. You watch the car.
Yeah.
It's just, the game is different. I get what black women are saying. I get what y'all saying too.
But you saying where I'm finding these females, bro, they out here.
Bro, you generalize.
Right, so I found one thing, it kind of correlates with what's going on here. To let's see if I can upload it. Hold on. Video file. Where you show, there we go. There we go, I think it's this one.
People are so cool, they can own their own racial slur. Okay, that's how cool they are. No other minority in America is cool enough to own their own slur. All right, you never see Chinese people walking around just going, hey yo, my chinks. Yo, where my chinks at? Yo, holler at me, chinks. Yeah, my chinks. Hey, stay yellow, my fellows. Whoa. Sounds awful. It's like nails on a chalkboard. My chinks, my chinks, my chinks. Like black.
So when we do analysis of people, sometimes we have to we have to take what they say and put it in a real life context. So what this brother is saying is it's so cool that black people can use derogatory terms to describe them, ourselves, whatever, and it's cool, it's trending, this kind of stuff. But imagine, we can't do that. We're not cool enough to do that. And then he was using the terms, and everyone's laughing at how ludicrous it was. But if we flip that just shows you how far gone black people are, where these terms are just accepted, and how willingly we use them. And actually, these same terms that are meant to be a force of endearment are also used when insults are being come. So once again, it's showing you that other groups understand this, and regardless of the comedies they put in, they understand that in their community they're never going to do that.
Yeah, it's that kind of like, it's the outside joke, but it's also an inside joke to other minorities that you might want to be, because you know this thing about everyone wants to be black, but he's kind of using that logic as we're not going around calling ourselves, you know, and what he's mentioning, and then the way he does it and acts it out, he's making it very clear. There's two undertones to that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Now, and that's why I keep saying that when we try to collectively make a change, we can actually do experiments. So we can say, why don't we try to replace the word nigger with black kings? Yeah. And because obviously now when other people repeat this word or they talk to each other about the niggers, now they're going to be saying, look at those black kings. Let's see how it changes their perception of conversation, where every time black people are being used, it's done. Now, funny enough, what's interesting is there are many anti-black racists, and unfortunately, some of the people in the divestment community as well. Unfortunately, and maybe they picked this up through the white men they were dating, but a lot of they use this term kangs, black kangs, right? And what this is like a slang of taking the word kings and turn it into kangs, like an American accent, whatever. And it's like a slur of that you're not a black king, you're a black kang, whatever. Like, I'm pronouncing it slightly wrong, but this is showing you that there's certain words that are through the history mean powerful things, and even when they insult you, they can't use it. So what they do is they subvert the word. While the N word is never subverted, regardless if it's hard AR or ER or whatever it might be, right? There you go.
Yeah, definitely. They go very hard to. They'll allow you to keep those names to call each other. You can go and run with that. You know, we'll let you put it in the music, but you can't use any derogatory terms from any other ethnics in the music. But you can do it for yourselves in the movies. You know, when you meet each other, we'll let you do all of that. You know, but when you want to start calling yourself kings and queens, we're gonna start slurring it and tarnishing it, and you know, because you can't be positive from one brother to another brother. No.
Yeah, you see. So what I'm saying is there is a way through osmosis that certain things are kept the way they are, and we want to study it, highlight, and have patterns and experiments to see if we can change these things. But let me find the share screen. Hold on, share screen. Stop that, and then share this one. Where are we? Window. There we go. I think it's this one. Share. So last week we went for 4 hours, and we had to conclude it to be continued because the question was, what challenges should the black community not discuss publicly? So is there anything? Is there a context? I guess Sister Empress Kushti said so she can join in. But is there any things that maybe we should talk about, or is there certain things that once you get to a certain point we have to discuss it publicly? Just to give you more context, last week we were, if I remember correctly, we were talking about. Well, to be honest, no, we were talking. To be more clear, we were talking about sisters who at one point we could describe them as pro-black, and something has happened where they've gone from being pro-black to literally anti-black man and very pro non-black man as a part of this kind of stuff. What we were saying is there is a complaint that these sisters are having that they're seeing quite consistent, and they are saying this is the force that is sending them from the black community into another community. And then the question was, okay, well, should we invite such people onto black betterment platforms or pro-black platforms to express themselves so we can hear what they're saying and see if we can offer a different perspective or a solution or an understanding? And some people with the yes, we should, because this is, but some people are like, no, once a person openly is saying certain things of a negative nature, they're no longer welcome to get involved, this kind of stuff. But we had to cut a relatively short-ish sort of. So we are continuing today. But people at home, Is there anything you should talk about? And I think we also led into the concept of women not being protected, and if they feel they're not protected, they're gonna want to try to reach out for some protection and with the minimal resource they have, and whether they turn. And then we were using Sister Afro's Rose's page as such techniques where certain sisters believe that they've been abused for many years. The police, their family, you name it, haven't been able to protect them adequately, and they're trying to find things to do. So one of the techniques is to name and shame to get the ball rolling again. But some people, I can't confirm this, but I think some people might feel that that might be was it dirty laundry, airing your dirty laundry in public. Some people feel yes, some people feel no. But we did want to talk about that in the most constructive way possible to come to some conclusions and solutions to see what is the right thing to do. Yeah, I mean, this week there was consistent measures of them. And Americans should be welcome to debate American issues in your video. Any brown sisters from America, Peru, Brazil, anywhere, any black person, African descendant, is welcome to jump and have their say, as long as they they remember the rules to make conversation flow correctly, which is discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. So the link's there. So let me drop the link. Okay, in all those affairs, let me find it. The link is always in the group. So if anyone ever comes in, if you ever scroll up, the link will always be there. We always invite people, at least for now, until it becomes problematic. But the link is there. So to jump in on this topic, but remember, please, discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. And the question that we ask some people is, what challenges should the black community not discuss publicly? So is there something that you feel, you know what, we shouldn't be discussing this? This should be behind the tables and this behind the curtains, that kind of stuff. You know, this kind of stuff, right? And by all means, we want to hear your opinions because don't get me wrong, maybe if someone says that there's certain things we shouldn't discuss and some people say we should, you know, we can discuss it here. And then if we all conclude that, you know, as a girls for community, the best way to go about fixing these issues is to such and such, then we can work towards that. But until then, we have to always feel that we are on the side of the victims. That's something that we have to do when we talk as well. When someone comes to you with a genuine concern, especially if you're a man, and they tell you that something isn't right, they feel they've been violated in some kind of way, you know, you in that small chance there, that small second that they tell you this, is your time to try to make them feel protected and supported in any way you can. And you know, that's important. So limiting what they can and can't say, you know, might be problematic in that context, or how you respond to them. It's very challenging, and unfortunately, many of us haven't been trained this. Like I've noticed this when I was in the community, that there are certain scenarios that some people have never dealt with. So we have to have a kind of like community training of how to deal with victims of certain crimes, you know, allegations, you know, and ways to handle it in the most dignified way possible, and also to keep justice at the center. You know, sometimes when these things come forward, there we go. People talk about different things and they forget that, you know, we are seeking justice and stuff. Welcome, brother IC3, to the panel.
I did want to say on this though, bro, that especially because I'm glad you gave an example, because I feel that, you know, there's stuff that I couldn't say, that there are stuff that I don't believe we should discuss publicly. But then I'm not being realistic. If I talk about now, where there's a lot of our laundry already out, it's not about airing it. Our laundry is out at the moment. I think that's a different factor, you know. Yeah. And I think where we're at now is our laundry is already out.
Good point. And this is a point. Yeah, we raised this point last week that this isn't a new kind of phenomenon. This is like, you know, there's documentaries and video. I'll just show some video now of a law that they're trying to push in, right? So, you know, these are things that we're aware of. I mean, for those who didn't see it, where is it? Hold on. Let's bring your brother IC3 back in. Which one is
What?
it?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. How's it going, brother?
Can you hear me? Oh, good,
Hey.
good.
Yeah,
Greetings, panel. Greetings, panel. Yeah, that question is a very deep question. Really important question. Of what should be handled in house versus what should be handled out house. Let's see if we can come together to um, thrash it step by step, maybe by process of elimination. What I think is very bad is when black people classified as black, use the so-called they air their dirty laundry in order for entertainment value or to get hits or clicks or the naming and shaming in order to earn money or gain position. I think that's very popular. It appears very popular to me. So, would you agree with that? Well, my position is that is wrong. Would you both agree with that? Would the panel agree with that?
I agree. I agree.
I agree too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go a bit further then. Right. So, and you would you agree that that appears to be very popular at the moment?
Yes.
Or not?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was just me.
No.
Right. So it's quite serious. Right. Now, so let's stick on that for a bit. So let me play devil's advocate, as they say. If airing the so-called dirty laundry or in public, you're saying is bad. What if people say, well, these things need to get out there? You know, people need to know. It's naming and shaming. People need to know what's going on.
Well, that's what
So,
Brother Raven.
how would you go against that? Pardon?
I think that's what Brother Raven was saying. So he gave us an example of a talking piece of like perhaps Cynthia G or women with the same mind frame, where a lot of black women are talking about what their issues are with black men. And that it came to the point of, you know, should it be a point where we should allow these people to talk like this or even invite them in spaces like ours to discuss their problem, or should it be that we just shun the whole thing and shut it down? So going back to what you're asking, it's the kind of same thing where they're saying that these are issues and we need to air them and talk about them, whereas some people in the mind frame is that, well, you know, you're just bashing the black man, so you shouldn't really, it should just not be discussed, period.
Right.
So what do you think about that in that scenario?
My position, it's wrong, but it's bad, but what is the alternative, or what is the correct way to go about it? So if we say something is bad and should be stopped, then stop it and then do what? You see? So that's why, you know, I'm quite hesitant, because what is the actual alternative or the solution? So it's so just saying things are wrong without or saying people to stop doing certain things without giving them an alternative makes me very hesitant to say stop doing certain things, because I kind of keep my mouth shut until I say, well, don't do this, but do this. Yeah.
And I think that's why.
Go on.
No, go ahead, bro. Finish off your sentence.
Okay, so let's use the Neely Fuller scenario of the prison, in a prison system. I like what he was saying, in that if you're being abused by fellow prisoners, then you should report it to the prison governor. Don't try and sort it out yourself, because it could turn against you. Report it to the powers that be. Now, is that the same as airing dirty linen in public? If so, using the prison scenario, you'd have to report things in a proper manner, rather than in passionate, chaotic, gossip driven way, which only just increases the animosity. That you know, so the energy that's generated and the anger that's generated through abuse, that force has to be directed properly. It's the same thing, I think. I'm just shooting from the hip here. It's the same thing as going to court. You know, you go to court, and you could really be angry with that other person and what they've done. But when you go to court, why they have solicitors is that it's procedure and system. You know, you know that person that's you're going up against is in the same courtroom with you, and they could have murdered somebody of your family, and yet you've got to stay in your position and let the solicitor talk and the procedure. You know, that's the way justice is supposed to be served. So, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I actually do get what you're saying. And I actually like the fact that you understood the fact of knowing that this, you alluded to elements of, like, you know, feeling abused, or there's pain and distress there, and understand you've got to tread carefully around those kind of real emotions that have happened. You also, like, gave the example of being in court and having to sometimes have to face your abuser, and you're saying that go into a space of authority, and when you're in court you have to show a sense of restraint. And I understand what you mean by that, in regards to perhaps these women don't have to necessarily scream out or talk about it on their particular channels. They can maybe form some sort of restraint and go to the powers that be, or the custodians. But then I say that, where are they? They don't have it. And I think this is what happens. I think, and this is what I was trying to explain last week, what we're seeing now is the end result. I feel like we've had our stage. This is just me. What I'm saying, the first part is just me. I feel that we have our stages. There's always patterns in life. And I feel like this is just another repeat patterns we've had within our history, within our culture, of women when they're not happy, when they were even in their ethnic groups, instead of the word tribe, so ethnic groups, they would just decide that, you know, I've given an example of, I forgot what the warrior queen's name was, but when she saw that the men in her ethnic group weren't prepared to fight the British, she said that they'll take arms instead. And once the men saw that the women were out fighting, they had to get up and fight. They couldn't just let that happen. Right. So I think that this is another form of that. This is another form of the women just saying, we are like these women in these scenarios, especially because there were women initially that were pro-black. And I think that's what the point is that they've done the long haul. Do you know what I mean? They've slugged it out. They've looked for the authority figures. They've done this. They've waited it out. They've took the abuse. They've seen this. They've, you know, and like even when I've been on Brother Raven's show, just the stuff that we've like reported on and things like that happens in those kind of scenarios in those circles in America. It's a lot. So I feel like this is the end point. And no matter if I understand that it doesn't look good and aesthetics is not good, and I disagree with absolutely what they're saying. I understand that this is like out of trauma. This is as a result. This was inevitable. Like what Raven said last week, he said something that was really powerful, that, you know, I think me and Cal was having a back and forth, and I didn't really hear it at first, but when I heard it back, I did hear him say that, you know, no, this is not good, but I can't say I'm surprised that this was inevitable to happen, because there's been continuous of the trauma that these women have gone through, and they've been constantly saying it, they've not been heard, and now they're lashing out. So I feel that now we're here, it's not a matter of saying, okay, you're talking about we shouldn't be airing out our dirty laundry, because this dirty laundry has been out. You know, we've repeatedly seen rappers disrespect all of our community and the women. We've seen the memes. We've seen like there's countless of problems that Black women have faced, right? Everyone can say that. And I think that this is what has been the result. And I feel that they're just airing it out now. They're just not putting any airs and graces on it. And I think that's what's made it so it just causes so much reaction from certain people. And I think that the best way to actually solve it, instead of saying shut up or don't talk, or I think, is to actually start tackling some of the issues that they're screaming about, instead of just brushing it under the table or telling them they shouldn't do it or shaming them for talking about it.
Right.
That's what my kind of.
What do you think of this? It appears that other communities, certain other communities, what they do, they have their own court. I mean, the same thing happened so although the court might not have the community court might not have or will not have the power of the state court, but it maybe having a community court is just a way of kind of allowing. Say there's something like I'm just shooting off ideas here. Say there was something set up like a Black community court. What? Yeah, there's a Black community court. Right, and then whatever problems you have, you can take it to the Black community court, and then people are going to start saying, "Oh, Black community court. Well, what power have they got?" Yeah, but it's not about the power to do something. It's just about the procedure of taking it to a Black court. Even if your decision, just to hear what the court says. Just to hear what the Black community court says. People might just ignore and disrespect the Black community court, but they might think, well, let's take it to the Black community court and see what the Black community court says before we have to take it to the main court, the white court. So if there was such thing as a Black community court, I suppose imagine people would laugh at such a thing being set up. But I think just to have that there, just to have that there, it's just you just have it there and you just organize it and just keep it there. Whether 2 people use it or 100 people use it, it doesn't matter. Just have it there, and then it could be a way. It's an alternative, and I think it also. I think it will be a start of a good thing. I think it'll be a start of a good thing. What do you think of that?
Could you flesh this out? What would the black court? Which system of law would it be based upon?
Welcome, Brother Stanley.
How you doing?
Hello.
Welcome.
Right. Well, which system of law? Now, this black community courts. This is an idea. Let's test it out. Let's test it out. This idea. The laws would be constructed by the black community. Yes. So therefore, you might only have one law in there when it begins. But the construction of the laws of the court also means the construction of the black community. So you're building the court from scratch.
Okay. No, I want to hear you flesh this out. I was about to ask you a question, but please.
Does that make sense? What I just said there.
It might want to explain how.
Okay, got it. I've got it. Watch this. Watch this. There's a certain community, and what they do, they keep records of all court cases within the community, all disagreements, and what the judgment was of, and what every single case within the community. They keep records of both sides. This person said that, and then this person said that. This happened here, and they just keep records. They just keep records. And what happens is, as time goes on, the judgments, because so a society, a community is built on the judgment and decisions that have been made over time. And that's what shapes the culture. That's what shapes the ideology. That's what shapes the values. So if you start as a black community court and the rule book, there's only 3 laws in there, fine. Just it exists. And then people might, go there just for a laugh and just test things out. But as time gets on, as it gets more and more serious, it becomes more and more relevant, because you're building the community, you're building judgment, you're building culture from scratch. What do you think of that? Test it.
Yeah, so I do think there is something there in the sense of a committee, a group where they make databases and they listen to the complaints of the community, and there is some kind of framework put in there to be able to decide next best action or who to point the case to. I think there's a value there, and that might be something that you can have before something becomes public. But definitely the people coming forward have to feel protected and safe, and knowing that the things they're going to bring is something is going to be done about it.
How would the judgments of the court be policed?
Well, this is the thing. I guess what it might be, they might be.
Well, I'm sorry, it was specifically the IC3. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, IC3.
Yeah. Okay. So there'll be a court case, black court case. It goes to the black court. There's now a new community black court has been set up. Right. So the first case goes there, and then somebody presents their side and the other side, and it's all written down. It's all recorded. Yeah. The database is kept. And then the decision of the court then is set, and the punishment or whatever, the fine or whatever is set, and then that is put on record. Yep, it's put on record. Now, it could be now the situation comes, the execution, the policing, the power behind the decision. Brilliant. Okay, good. So the decision was that the court says that this person should pay £300 or $300, and this person should do that. And that's the decision of the court. And we put that on record. Now, it's for the community to kind of back it, to say, to talk to both parties, the community, the voice, the community says, look, rather than
that wasn't really my question. Who will enforce decisions? I said police. Let's move it a bit higher to enforce.
Okay, so the enforcement, because this is all before or as an alternative to go to the white court. So right, so the enforcement, right? So the issue of the enforcement.
Hold on. You said white court.
Yeah.
I was just assuming this was like a Hermetic thing, a black system.
Yeah.
So is what you're saying? We have to go to a white court?
No.
White enforcement.
See what? Yeah, let me explain. So the purpose of this court is basically you're keeping records, you're building a culture, and then the concept of force only. How can I say? The force comes as the court gains credibility within the community. The community, the black community, because there is no black community, but the black community will start to be formed. It will start to emerge based on what is taking place in the court. I mean, that's what happens when somebody's upset. They say they could pick up their phone and they call their sister. Did you hear what so and so did to me? And what they say, what? Yeah. And then they call the cousin. Yeah. And so what they're trying to do, they're trying to gather up people and friends and community to try and get everybody, family, friends, to go and speak to this person and say, this person has done wrong. So why they keep calling up all the family and calling up cousins and friends and so on is that they're trying to get justice. That's normal. That's what people do, don't they? They're on the phone complaining about so and so has done this and so has done that. Can you call them and tell them? So all we're trying to do is trying to formalize that gossip mill, that gossip circle. And how the force, going back to what you're saying, Stanley, and force.
Well, no, not saying, asking.
Well, hold it. Let me try and address that. When it's upset and they call up and start calling around their friends and bad mouthing this particular person because they feel that they've been unjustly treated, right? They're hoping to get enough friends and family members to start to impose sanctions on that person. Oh, I've stopped talking to so-and-so because after what she did to so-and-so, I was going to lend her some money for the holiday, but you know what? That's out.
Aren't you describing like a Motown song? I heard it through the grapevine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So hearing it through the grapevine is the same kind of thing.
Justice?
Sorry?
Is that really going to be justice?
So what we're trying to articulate here is there's some people in the community the panel.
I thought it was IC3. My bad.
Yeah, but he was given a solution to a question.
It was that a solution?
That was
explore together.
Yeah, so it's more that I can.
So he says he's exploring. Hence, that's not a solution.
Well, of course. I mean, sometimes you have to explore the answers, isn't it?
Of course.
No, it is a solution. I'm saying the solution is the creation of black courts. Now, I'm being questioned on that solution. What do you mean black court? How would it work? You see? But I've stated the solution. The solution to all this gossiping and backbiting and all this kind of stuff is black courts. Now,
okay,
how do you construct a black court?
How does the decision of a black court get enforced? Get people to kind of be with the decision, etc. How do you make the decision of the black court stick? That's really, I asked that before.
Yeah. And that's what we're discussing. We are constructing it right now, right this minute. The idea came out. It was presented. The solution was presented. Now any discussion here is part of the construction
of the solution.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Right. So I mean, ultimately, what we are saying is there are some people in the community who feel that there isn't they don't have a voice, and they've been they're the victims of some kind of major crime, and they don't know who to turn to, and they feel like the victimizer is able to go out and do this consistently to others. So
sorry.
Yeah. So because of this, sometimes it's like a volcano eruption. They go public on a YouTube channel or some kind of radio station or something, and they go public with a legacy of crimes that they've been forced upon them or they've witnessed to.
Well, you're saying YouTube is part of the solution to a black court?
No, what I'm saying is right now, a week ago there was a talk about there are certain things that shouldn't be said publicly and should be said behind closed doors. But some people feel that nothing has happened behind closed doors. People are being ignored. People who have broken trust and laws and this kind of stuff are still doing it, and the victims are continue to be victims. So the victims are trying to find other ways to find solutions, and one of them is naming and shaming and this kind of stuff.
Oh, for goodness sake! That's the great one.
Yeah, but it's disorder. It's chaos. This naming and shaming is all over the place. But all of it should be brought in to the concept of a black court, because sometimes black people experience things, and then the neighbor could be going through the same thing. But to know that there's a court with records, and knowing that this happened before and it's been happening quite a lot within the black community, and the court kind of by merely having a court, it shows that whatever the issue is, whatever the problem is, there's other people experiencing it, and we are trying as a community to solve it. So you're not the only one with this particular problem, because we have 50 cases came before you dealing with this same issue, and so it's just a way of making people aware of what's happening within the community, and encouraging a kind of formality, bringing in a formality and civilization.
Can I ask you a quick question though? I understand it's an idea. Now, I do understand that African is kind of a general idea on this channel, but you are basing this idea on what? I mean, essentially what you're saying is people will do right, black people specifically, because of social pressure. You're basing this on what kind of example? Is it an African example? People do well because other people expect them to? Can you please develop that? Now,
okay.
I understood your idea, but it's actually a question. I don't understand the enforcement part. Now, maybe I sound like a cop, but what will make someone who, did an infraction or anything like that,
Yeah.
what will
Okay.
make
Good.
them want to, or how would you enforce someone who doesn't want to?
Okay. Good.
And
Good.
then, better than that, I want to know what you're basing this on, because you're coming up with a new idea.
1 second.
Based on what?
Hold on. Oh, before you answer, let's just remember that the question is, what challenges should the Black community not discuss publicly? So do you feel that there's certain things that we shouldn't? Like Brother IC3 gave examples of maybe there's
Well,
certain...
Brother IC3 asked how to kind of adjudicate stuff.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, ultimately, the question is still there, and remember, this stems from it really the focus I would like to around is the vulnerable people in the community, the vulnerable ones, and we can identify them as women who were domestic abuse, young
Right.
girls who were sexually assaulted,
Yeah.
and the people who do this can find themselves able to do this constantly. And then we also led on to Black women who are victims of domestic abuse might be treated differently from police and stuff. So, and we showed a video advert, I think you call it, of that being practiced.
Well, it sounds like Brother IC3 has the solution. It should be brought out to a Black court.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. Nothing should be outside the community. Nothing.
Right, but
go to a Black court.
I think what Brother Raven is asking, I'm assuming, because I didn't hear the whole show. Do you mean should some things not be brought out into the broader community, like in front of white people?
Everything should go within the Black community, but when it falls out of the vessel, yeah. So everything within the vessel of the Black community, but when it spills over or spills out, then it goes into the larger society. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a quick
overspill.
question. And I'm not any sort of expert on British law or anything like that, but isn't there like an Islamic system within the UK, England specifically? Don't they have like Islamic, can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, but that's why I didn't mention any other community, because I know we start talking about Jews and Muslims. No. I'm just saying other communities, they have courts of this kind. So I don't want to mention
Cultural
any
court.
other community, because the
We can say,
conversation is straight.
We could bring up the term cultural court, like have a cultural court that we haven't had for ourselves, and is there a value there? And could that be a solution to people saying that certain things? But before I even go there, welcome, Sister Fee Holy Trinity. Welcome.
Hi, good night. Good night, panel.
Hey
hi there. Hi, Kushti, how are you? I actually wanted to speak to IC3's point. I think it is a good idea to have some form of committee, and I think it could work. My question and my thoughts were around who would form this committee. And I think it should be someone who could advocate for Black people, not necessarily be a political party as such, but that could advocate for us. And I think really it should be made up of people within the community of good standing. So when I say that, I'm saying members of the community who are in law enforcement or nurses or just people who have done some sort of philanthropy work and things like that. And I think if it is formed, if the committee is formed of these types of people, then we could get somewhere. Even MPs who could get involved in this type of work as well. But the only thing I would make to that would be the conflict of interest with their jobs, their day jobs, and this might cause some issue around what they're doing in their day job, and obviously the advocacy work that they're doing separately. But I think if we had some sort of informal committee like that, it could actually work. So I just wanted to.
Normal people like non-MPs or just kind of like workaday people be
Absolutely, people of good standing. So nurses, we've got a lot of nurses that came over here from the Caribbean that reached a certain level in their career that have done a lot of advocacy work. Anyone like that, police officers, people with normal 9-to-5 jobs. But as I said, it could be the conflict of interest between their day job that might. Workplaces don't particularly like to see certain individuals involved in this type of work. So that's the only thing that might be holding them back. But I actually think if it's people that are respected within the community, even community leaders, it could actually work, that could become involved in these types of committees. And perhaps we could have one that covers, particular boroughs. So yeah, I think it is a good idea.
Brilliant. Yes, I'm glad. Because and just listen to it as you're speaking there. The vision is coming now. Yeah, it could, because by keeping everything on record, right? You'll then start to see certain people will rise as good judges within the community. Because don't forget, every question, every word, every judgment is recorded. And then some people, after a while, the community will say, you know what? This person is good. Is a good policeman, whatever, for the system. But their judgment, the things that they say, I've been reading the case, and that person's not a good judge. You're not good for the black community. But this person over here, they might put a bricklayer, or or might be, might run a laundry. But we like the way she talks. We like the way that how she made a judgment on this particular case.
Based on what system of underlying law? You can't make judgments without a base system.
Good. Okay.
Is
okay. I'm going to address your question now.
Is it Hammurabic? What is? How do people judge? What's the base system?
Right. Good. Here's the base. The base of building any community or society or nation, right? It's going to be how judgment is served within that group, within that nation, within that community, within that society. Yeah, the memories have to be recorded. Now, listen carefully. I mean, the very society that you're in, even America itself, it works that way. You start off.
Be careful of how you.
One second. Well, listen carefully. What happens is that people get together and they start making judgments. Now, the first force will only be perhaps sanctions as soft as, well, I've stopped speaking to this person until they've apologized for this. But as the sense of justice increases, then the power and the force also increases. It's part of the construction of society. That's how you build a nation.
Do you understand my question?
Did you understand what I just said?
And that's why I'm asking, what are judgments? What are decisions? What is the base of how they decide? You can't just kind of go, hey, the community is, are you saying that, hey, we get together as a community, we write down the laws based on memory and all that stuff? So what you're saying is we make it up as we go along and make sure we write it down.
Yes, that's right. Okay. That's how a society is built, constructed.
So you're talking ad lib law.
The society will construct its own laws, habits, and traditions.
Okay.
And culture will form from that.
Got it. Okay. I actually understand
That's how it works.
Okay. or will work.
That's
Can I
how
just-
that principle always works. That is how Britain was formed. That is how America was formed. That is.
I agree. Can Fee Holly wanted to say something? Go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to comment on what we shouldn't speak about publicly. I think from this point forward, interracial dating and relationships, I don't think there's a need to discuss that publicly. And that's one of the things I think probably should be kept in-house. It's a conversation that doesn't go anywhere. I just think it's that kind of thing should be kept perhaps in-house.
I missed that part.
When you say that, does that include any promotion of it at all? So, as in just as a concept, we shouldn't discuss it. So, showing it being practiced, pros and against, all forbidden, all not shown.
Yeah, we're just generally having discussions on platforms such as this. I don't think it's getting us anywhere. And it's what it boils down to is us sort of making disparaging points on one another. So I think things like that, there's no need for. I think in terms of the value, in terms of things like domestic abuse and Valerie's law, which I think you showed a video on earlier, that's trying to be passed, which was based on a lady called Valerie Ford, who unfortunately was passed with her daughter, is now gone with her daughter. I think things like that, obviously, we need to push forward for in terms of domestic abuse, but in terms of relationships and the context and all that kind of thing, dating out, I think maybe that should be, that conversation should end.
What if so if the conversation ends but the practice increases, should we not mention that?
I think we saw with Empress Kushti last week, she sat there for over an hour trying to kind of relay the points. I think we've approached this from all angles. We approached it from a more kind of informal angle, we didn't talk about it for many, many years as Black women and how we felt about it. Then we started going on television shows. We started approaching it from come back Black men, we love you. So kind of a encouragement, speak life into them, in quotes, type of angle. We started going on there talking about all the issues from that point and from a more of a supportive point. Now it's reached a boiling point, as Sister Kushti was saying, where it's kind of, where that's it. We're kind of, we don't want anything to do with you kind of thing. So it's gone through different stages. And now we've seen the stage that it's at now. So I just think at this point, it's best to abandon that conversation in public.
Okay. So that's okay.
Yeah. But the conversation of relationships should go to court, should go to a Black court. And your star should be awarded by the Black court.
Empress Christian wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, I just think that is so interesting point that Sister Fee said, that because I can see why she would say that, because if even talking about it is not constructive, you could be causing more damage than good. So I know you'd understand what I mean by that. And you don't want to highlight or be an example or see, I told you so. Do you know what I mean? Like, even people who are saying that for Black can't have this conversation, or look, this is another example of what we've been talking about, or if it cannot be done without feelings or just not being able to detach and just look at the points and actively try to do it with a positive mindset, of no matter what, we want to reach a conclusion for them, we want to solve this problem, then it we know what it looks like on the outside. It just becomes a beep show, so I can see why Where's
Yeah, and
this?
I think, yeah, I think you're right, Christian. I think when it comes down to it, I think us as Black women, we're more in alignment with how we're thinking. So maybe we can get together collaboratively and, come to a decision on how we're going to deal with it. We really should have dealt with this probably about 20 years ago within the UK when we first saw this trend starting to come about and
What trend are
decided
you
as
talking
women.
about? I'm missing. I missed the point.
Well,
What trend are you?
essentially,
That proves the point.
well, we're talking about the trend where Black women and men, for that matter, are constantly online talking about sort of IR dating, SYSBM, divestment, this kind of trend. And I think we can all agree on the panel that it started with Black
I
men
don't know
kind
what
of,
that
and then
is.
May
I don't know what you're talking about.
may I
SYS. I don't know.
interject right quick?
I don't know what it is.
Have any of y'all just thought about not watching what's online and living your own lives?
No, that we haven't thought about that.
Well, that's obvious.
Yeah.
Well, this is way before we all had access to internet and all of that. This is something that's been going on in the UK in large numbers since the 90s, where
Yeah.
we've seen a silent exodus of Black men to IR relationships. So this isn't a new phenomenon. It's only now that we're speaking on it and we've had this platform to do so.
Now,
So this isn't something new. It's just that it's been we've kept silent. I think over here in the UK, we are more covert in our approach. We're not as loud as no disrespect
No.
as the Americans on this point, but it has been happening at a large
Are you
rate.
talking about interracial
that's
relationships?
rather. Oh, sorry.
So that's it. So for those who don't, this is talking about interracial relationships and the fact that it's led by Black men in the numbers and this kind of stuff.
Well, no, actually, that's actually a good point that I don't know about. Because please develop that point. Black men went where? Because of YouTube or online?
No, it's not because YouTube. There's a trend in America, in America, England, Canada, where
no, there's not a trend in America.
well, when we look at the data,
you're not here. We don't care about the data.
All right. Well,
let's speak to a country you know.
Let's have two paradigms. Let's have one with no data, where this is lies, and let's have one with data, where the data shows that Black men are dating out from the men group a much higher ratio. So
okay, when you say much higher ratio, do you mean over 50%?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or close to.
Yeah.
And
I would love to see that chart.
You can even
that data.
Yeah.
It isn't. So what happens? One thing is just through osmosis, Black men are going to marry Black women or be with Black women, right? But what we're saying is when we start seeing spikes going high, regardless of the individual stories and testimonies,
who cares about spikes?
We have to because
why?
Hold on, Stanley. And what it is there has to be a purpose to why we're doing stuff, and the purpose of this broadcast is to improve Black situations. Now, most challenges are holistic.
Now, who is
so
we?
You learn something.
My bad. I'll mute. I'll mute myself.
You should. Now, what Sister Fee Holy Trinity is saying is because Black men's the concept of interracial dating is so strong that anytime we raise it, the discipline level just goes through the roof. It's like we challenge and questions come out every 17 seconds. So so what it is she's saying that we are incapable of discussing such a topic. Now I agree with her. I run many forums and I ban miscegenation because mainly Black men will run them out and this kind of stuff, right? But unfortunately,
I will never.
Let me just say this point. You can jump in. But unfortunately, because in my quest to find out that actually many solutions have to be holistic, and actually you can't have a community if your women and men are not on the same page. And because of this, we have to address these behavioral patterns that take people out of our community for the behavioral patterns. And also, we have to highlight what percentage of it are people who generally are displaying a certain level of self-hatred and not even knowing it. Before you jumped on, we showed a video, and by the way the brother was talking, he was probably unaware that some of the things he's saying is a defeatist mentality, and we try to highlight this and offer the brother solutions, but we definitely want to minimize anxiety when we talk about miscegenation, and we understand many Black people practice this, and then when we talk about it, it brings up this high anxiety level, and we're trying to find ways to talk about it in a constructive way. But ultimately, the conclusion is this: constructive Black man and constructive Black woman make a constructive Black family. That's either true or not true. And if that is true, is that valuable for the Black community?
Okay, well, I'm just going to kind of, I just have to make a statement. Black men and Black women are thoroughly able to figure this out without doctrinaire. We look at behavior patterns. You kind of know my feelings on this, so I'm just going to mute and just kind of cogitate on it. But
yeah, so I disagree.
You don't control
you should
Black people being controlled by other Black people's behavior. I have a problem with that.
I know, and that's not what's happening here. What's happening is we're recognizing patterns and we're trying to see the motives behind the patterns.
If it's not happening, then describe it better.
It is happening, but once again, once miscegenation is displayed to many Black men, the mind goes into what is almost like a gobbledygook state. So
Black men have no minds. Once miscegenation comes to town, Black men lose their will, their minds.
Yeah, so
what are they losing? That is so demeaning to the Black race. How is this Black betterment?
So hold on, brother.
No, you sound like, oh my goodness.
Listen. So
you're not giving Black men credit. You're not giving Black women credit.
You're right. So now what we're going to do is we played a video where there was a Black brother who was behaving in a similar way. And this is kind of like offended by information. And now what I say to Black men, more so Black men than Black women, especially Black men, because we're talking about leadership, is do not be offended by information. Yeah, that isn't our roles. So what happens is someone comes, if they say, by the way, guys, there's tanks over the mountain and they shoot on us, we can say, well, that offends me because I don't like to think of being shot at. But however, we need to know there are tanks over the mountain. So this is why we have to actually review things and see, does the information that happens, does this behavior pattern work in the collective best interest of Black people? If not, we have to have a solution. But we
Black
won't do that with emotion.
Men who are hardworking don't have time to look at YouTube videos.
Right. Okay, so it's not to them then. So those men and you, they're free from this conversation. But for the men who do, and remember that the YouTube is like a microcosm, right? Basically, it's showing you.
Black men who work hard do not have time to sit around and review other Black men on YouTube. They're out working.
Yes.
Do you not get my hint?
But the thing is, brother, you might be a half-empty person in the sense of like, no matter what we say, you're. So let me give you a perfect example.
I wasn't talking about me.
Hold on, family. Let's see if we can find it. Maybe you're from the same kind of area as this brother. Let me see. Hold on. Where is it? Let me see if I can find this video. Is it this one? So, no, Stanley, I want you to observe this brother here, Jay Cuts. You see this brother here? I don't know if he's from your area or anything. But I want you to listen to the way he communicates with this brother.
Is he in Britain or America?
This guy's from America, but you might know him.
Okay, so you're actually critiquing an American culture thing?
No, American culture. So regardless of what a person speaks, we're talking about behavior patterns. So because we can observe their language and see how they speak, we can see consistencies.
Yeah, social media. I've been watching social media. So do you think I heard Black women say. Mm-hmm. That they don't feel that Black men protect them. Have you heard this, ma'am? Do you agree with this?
I mean, that's false. It's crap because I feel like we're the most feared men on earth.
I mean, that's a broad statement.
No, I'm agreeing. It's definitely a broad statement. But so do you agree with no? No.
No.
So why do you think that they feel that way?
Insecurity.
Oh, that's tough. I think what Black women are saying, of course in their relationships maybe, But I believe they're saying also as a whole. So examples like, okay, we call our women bitch, we call our women the B word, we call them, you know what I'm saying? Like the way we represent them as a whole, right? No, hold on, listen.
I don't know the gentleman's name, but you're realizing that no matter
So
what they
you actually think that's how people act in American barbershops?
No.
Barbers want to make money. They work hard. They do not do that kind of behavior.
Brother, you're projecting.
You are fucking seriously.
Hold on,
You think this is American barbershop culture?
Forgive
Oh
me,
my
fam.
goodness.
I'm trying to find mute on the brother's thing, but they've changed.
I bet you are. That's not black American barbershop culture.
Edit name, ban for
The barbers work hard.
I think they've changed the interface. Solo. Oh, mute. There we go.
Then why are you showing the video? This is a.
Does it work? Oh, it worked. Well, it worked. Sorry, Brother Stanley. It took me time to mute you. Yeah, what it is, Brother Stanley, and the thing is, Brother Stanley at this point is a half kind of empty cup in the sense of no matter what we tell him, he's always going to find a way to find something.
You're watching YouTube videos about American culture.
So I've just muted him again, and we can keep doing this. But what it is so what. What we're trying to demonstrate here is the emotional man, the emotional kind of man and stuff. And what you notice is Brother Stanley swore then. Now, we're not going to school people, but information made him swear. You see? Now, what I'm saying, you see this brother here, I'm going to present. You see he's getting angry now when information. You see this brother here with the actual with the barber. So let's say he does a similar thing. So look, him really want to get.
No, listen.
You know?
And look,
this is reality.
When I first saw the post,
I got to interrupt. Let me interrupt this one.
Let me get my point out first.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can't sit still. So what happens? This is the challenge you face with certain types of black men, regardless if they're in Canada, America, Australia, and UK. Where this is the case study we want to do, and Brother Stanley is helpful enough to just demonstrate for us today, so we can observe it. But what it is we identify that we want to find solutions, and Brother Fiona Trinity said that actually, when we talk about miscegenation, so many black men, because of the practice they do with their kind of beliefs, they will kind of like be very hard to control, and they will take the conversation somewhere else. And this could be a demonstration of that. And I agree with it. But one thing I would say is, we have to have a way of behaving that works in black people's best interest. And if we see patterns that don't work in our interests, how do we call this out? How do we highlight this? How do we find solutions? And we can't let people who might be practicing certain things or feeling a certain way be the arbiters or dictators of where we go. If anything, we need to not practice benchmark rebranding and place the benchmark really high and let them come to where we're at rather than going down to where they're at. Right now, Brother Stanley is struggling to understand case study concepts, and what he does is he's projecting certain things. So he'll see something and he'll say, "Are you trying to tell me that this is how every single man is in the world?" And that doesn't really help black people when it comes to trying to find solutions. So we invite Brother Stanley, as I have done in the past shows, to try to step up to the plateau and understand this concept. But Brother IC3. Before you speak, let's make sure that.
Well, if nothing else, you have explained. You've explained a lot, dude. You have no.
I've just muted him. So go ahead, Empress Christian. Tell me what you want to say.
Can I speak?
I think Empress Christian wanted to speak, but
go on then, speak. Go on.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to reply to Sister Fee, and this kind of demonstrates why she said that women should just probably get together and discuss it and do this, because from
now.
Carry on. Carry on. But before I hear what you're saying, but the only problem is we will be then taking. So it's almost like
certain black men are not that smart.
I'm gonna mute that. So the only problem we might face here is. It's like there is a logic that some black men might be losing, and the black women have recognized it. And this might be one of the part of universal arguments we're having. And we cannot have the man group be led by the undisciplined, the lack of knowledge. We can't. So what I'm saying is, I hear what you're saying. But absolutely, if I'm being honest, the reason why you women are coming to that conclusion is because the men are not stepping up. So, for example, the man in this
You women?
hold on, let me just meet the lack of discipline from Brother Stanley. The brother in the barber at the background, there are too many men more like him than I guess the brother who's actually getting his hair done, right?
Yeah.
Because of that, obviously women, I'm not gonna try to bogart into a man space and have men become manly. We have seen that, and that's I guess the part of the divestment kind of crowd, I guess, and obviously that's just causing more civil wars. But what I'm saying is, I hear what you're saying, I agree to it to a certain point. But however, really, certain men have to step up and just lead the way. And we love Brother Stanley, but how we're treating him now is correct in the sense of he shouldn't be leading any. And I think there was a brothers who came on before who was saying this kind of stuff, like. We shouldn't allow people like him who don't really demonstrate much when it comes to solutions, black love, and this kind of stuff, to actually be dictating where men should be. If anything, he needs to see where we're at and aspire to be where we're at, as in understanding the value of black love, understanding the value of black economics, understanding discipline, not swearing.
Rap, have you ever been to an American barbershop?
Many times, yeah, but I'm going to meet that. But what I'm saying is, this is how, as a community, we should be treating the unsynchronized. Not necessarily unsynchronized. It's very, I wouldn't say unsynchronized. More so, there are people where the bar has been lowered so long, and I guess when we look to the barbershop talk here, that's where it is. Where if those who watch this video, it's about 5 minutes long. The black.
There are barbershops like that in Britain.
So we're not necessarily the barbershop.
Well, that's not surprising.
Yeah, we're talking about the actual mindset. You might share similar ones here and there, brother, and we're just trying to unpack them, just to see does that mindset work in black people's best interest? Sister Fee Holy Trinity, I assume, is trying to find solutions because she realized anytime miscegenation is being spoke about, the seas rise and the heavens fall and this kind of stuff, right? So we kind of want to get to a place where we're not doing it anymore, and we have to ask very important questions. Is there a value in constructive black man being constructive black woman? If so, what are we doing to maintain that? That's something that we observe other communities doing really well. And one I think in this thing, the notion of the defending black women, to which the brother on sitting down was saying we need to be more active in making black women feel safe, while the brother who was the barber was finding reasons not to protect black women. They can defend themselves. I don't know the context. I don't want to die. A black woman is strong enough. This kind of stuff, right? So, so what we're saying is we have to say we want to get more of the brother who's sitting in the chair and less of the brother who's walking around cutting the hair.
Right? Totally. And this dynamic is always the same dynamics. There's always one brother with this mindset and 1,000 brothers around him without. What if we just flipped that dynamic, or we saw that dynamic?
Yeah.
And I think that would be way more powerful. I think everything is designed a certain way as well. It's a setup, and I think again when you're all friends within, if he's the guy sitting on a chair and they're all friends, then he's not going. He's just in that kind of scenario. He'll just yield. Do you know what I mean? He'll just be like, all right, and laugh it off or whatever because they're friends. Do you know what I mean? He's not gonna push the case too much, or he understands the mentality. And I just think that's a general case in general. But I think with what Sis Fiona is saying, I think the problem is, and this is the problem that I first had when I first heard of this divestment and the men's version, is that they pick up certain points that are general issues in black communities anyway. And because nobody else is taking the torch to talk about that, or more shows and podcasts are not talking about that, they have acknowledged that and took on to that, and then now they're saying, okay, we're going to deal with it. So now instead of it becoming a black woman's problem or certain issues that all black women can relate to, now it's a divestment black woman's issue. And that's the problem. So if we can't freely talk about it in areas and spaces like this, then the only way women can address or hear certain issues that they have addressed are in certain channels. That's dangerous.
I hear that, yeah.
So that's why this shutting it down is bad, and
Right.
it not being able to have a space to breathe in areas where they should be able to breathe is also bad.
I hear that. So, and
And
one,
naturally, being a black woman, what is the next step? This is what I'm saying. It's not this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not even at this point. It's not rocket science
I hear
that Sis Fee come to that conclusion, right? Because it's a typical black woman's problem. Instead of just giving up, they're like, all right, let us just get together. You know what I mean? So that
and that's why I have to. I know, brother Isaac, if you want to speak, you can do. But one thing is, where it comes down to is a lack of input from black men, or a lack of action from black men, is causing this, right? As in, you know, things have allowed to become fever pitch, and not much has been said, and accountability, and we're using this kind of a barbershop scene as analogy or allegory, whatever, to that, where you're seeing the different mindsets, right? But I think brother IC3, or maybe IC3 wants to say something. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna make a few statements, then let me know if you agree.
Right.
One, there is no black community, and there will be no black community until there's a black court. A black court. As soon as a black court comes into existence, that is the birth of a real black community. Secondly, the idea of a court, yes, once you have...
Are there black courts in Africa?
No.
No. Carry on.
There's no black courts in Africa. No.
Look, stay on point, because we want to be sharp and precise. Because we've got half an hour left. We've got 20 minutes left.
So to begin to construct a black community that's effective for black betterment, there has to be a black court set up, and that the beginning, the construction of a black court is a construction of the black community itself, and therefore everything that is said and done will be more respected because it's going to be recorded.
Yeah. Okay. A good point. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and the second point I wanted to make is that I do not believe we should focus on trying to change people's nature and nurture. It's not going to change. That is why you have systems. You set up court systems, yeah, because people have emotions, and there always will be like that. That's why you have lawyers. That's why you have courts. That's why you have court procedure. Yes, because people are just people. They'll always be people. So you develop systems to manage the emotions.
No, I agree. But the systems for me include media.
Sorry?
The systems include media for me, as in the...
Yeah, but media has to come into... I mean, that's why you have a gallery in a court. Yeah, that's the media. That means you can go into the court and listen to what's going on, listen to cases. So media in court is the same thing. That's what courts are all about, media.
Hold on, family. So we just want to make sure that Sister Free Holy and Emperor Cruiser gets their opinions in at the same time. Anything you'd like to add to that, sisters? Well, why are you thinking of your thoughts? So yeah, I stand by what I said. Like, unfortunately, there are many amazing black men, tremendous amount, right? But what we're trying to do is highlight them and have them come together and stand together for a certain cause. And you know, if we're not seeing the certain outcome, if we're seeing this mindset all over the world, then that means somewhere something has happened to train this unnatural kind of behavior that wasn't always the norm, right? So we have to highlight it. And I understand why sometimes you might say, well, we'll just, as women, we'll deal with this on our own. But at some point, I don't think
won't work.
I don't think you can. I think men have to talk to men about stuff, and it's either like either you value these concepts or you don't. You see, and
It's
what
not
you
men talking to men or women talking to women. You have to talk to the court, present it to the court where both men and women will be there.
Right.
Well, sis Fiona, are you there? Sis Fee, are you there? Sorry, excuse me, family. Are you there, Sis Fee? I don't think she's there. But I really wanted to hear a response to what you just said there, bro, because that was quite powerful.
Yeah. We want to welcome Brother Kel to the forum. Welcome, Brother Kel.
How you doing, Brother Raven? How you doing, Africa family?
Welcome, Brother Kel.
Okay.
So what I found out that we have very limited time over in a month. We've got like a certain amount of hours in a month using this app. That's how I upgraded. So I'm going to try to keep this to either 12:30, no more than 12:45ish, right about that. So, but we were talking about what challenges should the Black community not discuss publicly, and everyone has given ideas of what we should and shouldn't. Now, Sister Fiona, Sister Fee, sorry, she observed that whenever black love is discussed, and Black men historically dating outside of the community are high ratio than other people, she said that this should not be spoken about because we haven't found a way to discuss it without it going into a real uncontrollable essence. But she kind of, it kind of demonstrated as she was saying it to me. But so I understood what she was saying, but I was saying that particular topic, I think that it's more so having Black men come forward and leading the charge on that, as in like expressing the values of why it's important to have Black families. And I think maybe campaigning was for that. But that was one thing. And then I think Empress Christie was talking about Empress Christie can express it more herself for them. But yeah. So just as a quick synopsis.
Well, can Brother Stanley say hello, Brother Kale?
There you go. And Brother Stanley has been very helpful this because what I was trying to express to Brother Stanley.
You know I haven't been helpful.
Well, no, it's not that I don't think you haven't been helpful. I think that the behavioral patterns you've displayed is very consistent. And what I'm trying to train the community is how to.
You're right. It has been consistent.
Very consistent. And what I'm saying is the idea is to have a benchmark that we set so all people can come and reach us. So it was this concept that if people are going to speak on the community, at a certain point, they need to have
community.
The Black community, wherever they find themselves. So anyone who wants to be a credible Black speaker has to have a history of finding solutions and valuing certain concepts like Black love. Like that has to be a basic concept that they demonstrate this makes sense. If they can't demonstrate that the concept of Black love, the ability to make Black people, isn't even important, then they might not be worthy enough to speak publicly.
According to whom? You?
According to the Black Betterment guide that we're making today, we're trying to establish what
works.
Brother Stan, let's ask a question. Do you feel that constructive Black man with constructive Black woman is an important thing? Do you think that is helpful for the Black community at all?
Well, you kind of know how I think.
I don't. I actually don't, Brother Stan. Can you answer
it? I've described it to you too.
Okay, so
was your memory that short?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to mute you because it's very good. So we have to thank Brother Stanley. The reason we have to thank him is because what we're demonstrating is actually he's one of the brothers who will talk in circles and he will never actually give you an answer, which is, we're using him more as a case study.
I talk in circles because you answer in circles.
I'm going to just mute that for 1 more
Sorry,
second.
I stepped away. I did hear you talking, but I was having another conversation. Apologies, everyone.
No, that's fine.
That's fine. Did you hear Brother Raven's reply, sis?
If you could repeat it, I think.
So what I was, and I'm trying to put it in a nutshell. What I was saying is, I understand the value of what you're saying when you're saying, don't talk about miscegenation because certain brothers become very confused and shout and scream this kind of stuff. But what I was saying is actually, rather than having Black women go behind the scenes to try to work on something, the real solution is Black men standing up and taking responsibility and ownership of Black love and the promotion and having marketing ways and propaganda ways to to retrain the community about the importance of constructive black men with constructive black women. Like this is like
Yeah, I kind of think that we, as black women, need to step away and speak to between ourselves and other generations of women on our experiences and what they can do as a collective to address the issue. And I think if black men want to go and have their own separate conversation, then that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. But I do feel that, to be honest with you, I feel because of the nature of how things are unpacking, there is a value in black men who agree with this. So Brother Stanley wouldn't join that conversation. He wouldn't.
Well, I must thank. I think that's a great idea. Black women step away from this kind of thing. Find good black men.
Right. All right. Cool. So what?
Brother Raven.
Go on, Brother Gil.
The reason why I disagree with that, because in 1970, Catalina Akeva, she was a secretary for the Black Panther Party. She was asked by a non-African about the sexism in the Black Panther Party, and she addressed it and said, "No one ever asks what a man's place is in a revolution." Right. Now, with that being said, brother, we know that there was sexism in our black movements, there was oppression, but yet still Afeni Shakur in the early 70s represented the black man as well as the South when it came to the Conquistador propaganda, which literally left the government that were trying to frame the Black Panthers, right, for something they didn't do. The point is, brother, is that some information does not need to be broadcast. What the sisters need to do is, instead of saying all black men, right, they need to be very strategic, because when you're saying all black men, right, you are allowing the black man to get away with certain things. If they label specific groups that are professing that they are for the black community and that, they will more get further than that. Perhaps behind doors, you know, keep.
Oh, I think you might have been cut, brother. I love your technology. He's on a roll there. What while you find the microphone? Yeah. One thing. So what I was saying is, it is a responsibility of able black men, able-minded black men who value this kind of stuff. That's why confession is important as well. I can't imagine how it is to be a black woman who understands the importance of black family, this kind of stuff. To wait for black men to step up and just have a loyalist execution of how they speak, like a way of speaking that shows that the black men are actually, synchronized with black women and understand how black people are produced and the importance of black family, regardless of what they practice at home or not. Just that concept of, confessing that. We showed this earlier for those about how other Q, because we were looking at how other Q, and we looked at comedian. And for those who joined in now, we looked at a trans comedian who was saying this.
So cool. They can own.
Rewind.
Like, black people are so cool. They can own their own racial slur. Okay? That's how cool they are. No other minority in America is cool enough to own their own slur. All right, you never see Chinese people walking around just going, hey, yo, my chinks. Yo, where my chinks at? Yo, holler at me, chinks. My chinks. Hey, stay yellow, my fellows. Whoa. Sounds awful. It's like nails on a chalkboard. My chinks, my chinks, my chinks.
So the brothers say it's a backhanded compliment, and what it is, it's saying that black people are so cool that they can take negative words about them and make everyone say it, and it's cool sounding. Well,
how is it a backhand compliment?
How is it a backhanded compliment?
Yes, that's my question. Did you hear it? Should I repeat it?
So the way we judge things by whether it's in a person's best interest as a group. For example, in America,
Over explaining.
Let me give
Don't tell me about America. You've never been here.
I've
How
been
about talk about England?
You're wrong in your analogy, but what
No.
I'm saying, many times. But what I'm saying
I'm
is,
right.
well, hold on. Let us not troll each other because
How
people
is it a back? Answer the question, please.
I'm about to answer you now. So in America, there's a group called NAMBLA, and what they do is they try to get pedophile legalized. Now, obviously, they disguise it in a way where they really believe it, that it's a good thing. But that concept doesn't work in our community's best interest, so we have to throw it out. The
Oh my
brother here,
goodness.
okay, now part two of the analogy. Yeah, the brother here is saying it's so cool that you guys can make fun of yourself, but we can't do it. But actually, he is the one who's actually normal. They are in normality where they understand that insult made to degrade the entire race, we're not going to say it, right? It's not going to work. It's never going to sound cool, and we can all laugh at this concept.
Explaining a joke means you didn't get it.
Brother Raven, can you hear me now, brother?
I can now. Good for your mic's working, brother.
Yeah. The thing is, brother Raven, is that unfortunately, we spoke about this with the unsynchronized Africans, is that
yes,
they failed to
And
realize.
now we're watching Asians.
I'm just gonna mute, brother. Sorry, I'm just gonna mute you for a bit, brother Stan, just so you can learn some discipline. Go ahead, brother Kel.
But they failed to realize is that when it comes to our complexion, is that we weren't allowed to have our own complexion. But then, because of the unsynchronized Africans, they are, promoting for the non-African people to get tanning. We weren't allowed to have dreadlocks as well. The unsynchronized Africans, they promote for the non-Africans to have the dreadlocks. So anything that we're not allowed to have, we automatically look at the non-Africans and say, well, if I'm not allowed to have my natural hair, complexion, slurs, etc., then you can't, right? And this speaks back to what I was saying before, brother, is that when it comes to labeling us and putting things out in the public, right, it must be done in secret to those specific people who you're addressing. For example, I'm just giving you an example. Let's say there's a collective called the African All Stars, right? Instead of the African woman going on the podcast or the Facebook and saying all black men, she should say, the African All Stars, we need for you to help us because there are things going on in our community which you haven't addressed and etc. But by her saying all black men, you're giving us an excuse to not take responsibility because, naturally it's like, well, all black men, you're keeping it very, it's not specific. But if she labels the ones who are out there saying that they're going to do certain things, right, then it'd be more powerful through a strategic way, if that makes any sense.
Brother, Sister Fioli and Empress Kushi, did you hear that? Do you agree with?
Yeah, I have a question for Kale.
Go ahead.
Because I know that he was in this conversation last week with Sister Kushti. I think the problem is us trying to distinguish who these all-stars are. There's a very popular YouTuber who's also a historian who previously was kind of a dating guru. And I think the clues will let you know who I'm speaking on. And before he became somewhat pro-black, he used to have a lot of talking points. One of his talking points was that he mentioned he said one comment about raising the flag in the bedroom for European women. Then he made another comment about dating mixed race women whose mothers were non-black, preferably. But then there's been a switch to now this pro-black talking points. So in the same way that a lot of black women on this platform have switched from being pro-black to being pro-woman, he's now made the switch. So I think there's certain things that are said by certain so-called pro-black men that make us question if we really have anyone on our side. And this is the issue I have with you talking on, you know, and it's also distinguishing what's black as well now, because now we're having multiracial societies. So this therefore pushes the black woman's agenda further and further behind. Where the preferential, this is the whole point of my moniker for the Holy Trinity, where the black woman is the black man, non-black people and white people have come together to try and replace the black woman and have formed a trinity in their efforts to do so. So this is my viewpoint, and this is what I believe is happening. I'm not saying I agree with it, and I think that the only way it can be dealt with is by like-minded black women coming together and coming to some sort of solution on how we're going to tackle and handle this. I don't know whether we're going to have to, it might seem extreme, develop some kind of commune where we all go off and live on our own with our children, because at the end of the day, for the most part, 90% of the time, the black children and black women are the community. And this is what is a regular occurrence that we're seeing taking place. So when you say these all-stars, I beg to question who these people are, because they're very, very difficult to identify at this point.
Well, here's the thing, sister. All due respect to her, when you are referring to that the black woman and the child need to, be separated, and unfortunately, this is going against our existence of African people. I've said this many times before. Historically,
Yes, correct.
The African man and African woman civilized the planet by the will of the Creator. So
That's
if
right.
you remove the African woman, right, and then focus on the African man, what happens is there's an imbalance. Just like if you remove.
Well, I think I personally think.
Please hold on. All due respect
Okay.
to you, right? If you remove whichever one
Can
of them.
she finish her point, please? Because I was rather interested.
If you remove whichever one of them, what happens is that you destroy the connection, right? So that's why I was saying last week is that the African all-stars is the African man and the African woman who follow principles and code of conduct, and not a word where it means pro-black. Because one time though, I was having a discussion on the VC, and there was a lot of the African descendants were saying that, I am a nationalist, right? A black nationalist. But when you're saying you're a black nationalist, what you're saying is that you're for all black people. And then what happened is, what was in their heart, which was their tribe, first, their tribe started to come out. And the moment your tribe is before black nationalism, then you are not a nationalist, you're a tribalistic. In other words, and that you're not for the collective. So we definitely have to use principles, but we cannot remove, sister, one gender.
Well, let's put it this way: absence makes the heart grow fonder. And at this point, the collective of black men, who are not including men like yourselves, who are in a minority, are basically telling us that we're an annoyance. They don't want our support. They don't really want us around in that way, and they would rather be represented by other types of women. So if we completely removed ourselves, either two things will happen. Number one is that they'll realize the good thing that they had, or number two, will simply just benefit from living a more peaceful, productive life. So that's my opinion.
Peaceful. The white man will be there.
No. Hold on. So, Sister Phil, I think this is. I'm glad you said this, because this is kind of at one point a conversation I wanted to start, because that solution is probably one of the main solutions. And for me, it really is like, it sounds like a last straw solution, as in everything else has been now.
I mean, if you really want something, you fight for it, don't you? So if you really want something, you fight for it. So by removing ourselves, maybe then the men who really care will get determination.
So I'll just be Stanley, because I'm going to use him as I'm going to use both of you as a case study, and that is
you're going to use me as a
what? So, Sister Fioli,
case study, then mute.
There we go. Yeah. I'll ask you the question after. Let's go in turns. Hold on. I know So what we don't want black men to do is learn the disciplined practice of Brother Stanley. We don't want that. And we want them to have the disciplined practices of Sister Fioli. And hopefully we can learn in this thing to do that. So, Sister, even though right now black men are not behaving in a way that is in, I guess, your liking, right? In the sense of like they're not collectively working in this way. Would you like that to be a situation where constructive black men are with constructive black women in high mass? Would you like that?
I would, but there simply isn't.
Hold on, stop. No, I'm just trying to demonstrate something. Brother Stanley, yeah? Would you like
I'd like to hear, I would like to hear. No.
Would you like a situation?
Would you please let the African woman speak?
So brothers and sisters, what I'm trying to say is this is a microcosm of what you see. So you have behavioral practices from Brother Stanley.
Coward. Let the woman speak.
Remember, we're gonna analyze it. We must never be frustrated because
you know what? You're
why does it? Very important. Now,
let the woman speak.
He'll never answer. He'll just keep saying the same stuff.
I'll answer after she's done.
Brother Raven, in the rule of Pan-Africanism, brother, is that a Pan-Africanist, for example, never debates non-African people or unsynchronized African people.
So are you saying I'm not African?
Very true.
Because, brother, the thing is, it's not that
African men,
right? It's not that they
let
can
their women speak
intellectually cannot do, but what it is that it's a waste of time, brother. Because number one, the unsynchronized Africans, brother, they don't have the credentials for our community.
Of course,
they don't have no credentials.
But Brother Kel, would you not see a value in highlighting people
you
like Brother
idiot
and showing them that this is what we're
cutting off a woman?
And when you see sisters like, so what you're seeing is you're seeing Sister Fioli, who generally is talking about wanting black men to be black women. And,
I do not respect.
I'm just going to make you so I say this point. If you interrupt one more time, watch this. If you interrupt one more time, I'm gonna have to let you go. So let me say this.
Let me go.
All right, there you go. Cool. So, so the thing is with Sister Fiona, what she's demonstrated, she longs for this kind of union of constructive black woman, and she utters it openly. But brothers like Stanley, they won't. They're misogynists, they're aggressive misogynists who laugh and they can't. They have no form of discipline. They've never even ever said anything about the importance of black man and black woman. They're completely in their own wilderness. But what I'm saying is, you're right. Brothers like this, unfortunately, will never ever do anything of value to black people. But we have to be able to use them as case studies. And I think today they've demonstrated this beautifully. And that's why that is why, and this is going to sound very biased on some end, I am interested in a certain type of black woman who at one point was very strong pro-black, but a constant dedication and back-to-back perceived inconsistencies, has led her to trying to really work out, because ultimately, black women cannot force black men to do stuff. They don't have the collective might or even the actual physical might. You see what I'm saying? But unfortunately, black men can probably force people to do other people, women to do what they don't want to do, right? So in that dynamic, we have to listen to the hopeless, the hopeless, and not that Brother Stanley represents black people at all, but we show the video, and what we're highlighting is the lack of trying to find solutions. Now, yes, he's unsynchronized. Yes, he's not a Pan-Africanist. Yes, he's not black bearer. Yes, he's been conditioned to be a certain way. But unfortunately, there are many of people like that. And you're right. The righteous and the synchronized are in low numbers. But saying that, why is there not a barrage of us coming together and dominating, in these spaces? And this is something that we have to ask ourselves.
The reason why is all due respect to brother. What challenges should the black community not discuss publicly, right? Now, the unsynchronized Africans, as well as the the non-African people, brother, what they do is, all of them, brother, unfortunately, they are all anti-African, right? Now, the issue is that if we allow them to speak and talk, right, what it does, brother, is it increases our diagnosis, which is post-traumatic slavery disorder and colonization disorder. I read I gave you a proof, brother, I think it was about 20 minutes ago, about the Black Panther Party. There was a lot of discrimination. I think I was caught off. But the thing is, brother, because the Black Panther females were on code, right? Although they were facing sexism and etc., it would never interfere with the liberation of our people. Do you understand? Yeah. Just like in the Marcus Garvey's movement and a lot of the thing. The problem is with the African woman of today, brother, right, is that because not a lot of them are synchronized like the African females in the past, is that the moment a black man who's unsynchronized speaks, they will associate this black man as all of us, and then due to the misfortune which is upon them, will have an excuse to not rely on us black men and then focus on formulating singleization groups, which white supremacy will use as a strategy to create gender wars between the black man and the black woman. That's why it's very dangerous.
Black men as a collective has done that.
Did you say that black women are not as synchronized as they was in the past?
We've always proved, we've evidenced that we're synchronized. What action have you black men doing collectively to demonstrate that they are synchronized with the black woman? That's the question.
Good question, and I think what I'm seeing a pattern here, and what that pattern. Welcome, brother, African Empress, or what? And what the pattern is, maybe what brother Kev was talking about, and we can use it here, is to make distinctions. So so maybe we can use these terms like unsync. So I'm talking about the unsynchronized black women or the unsynchronized black men, not the synchronized. And my fear is the unsynchronization is our high ratio. That way, there is a distinction known that there's a minority or a medium level or whatever of people in this group, whether it's male or female, who understand what needs to be done, but unfortunately, the unsynchronized is leading the way, whatever. And that way, we can minimize anxiety in the conversations. Because what we have is someone will say something, and then people will be offended by the tones and that. So if that's the case, it's like right now. If there are 1 million unsynchronized black men, that's 1 million too much. If there's 2 million unsynchronized black men, that's 2 million too much, right? So we can say that we want to definitely minimize where we can behaviors that we saw the brother just practicing a few minutes ago, and obviously at a certain point, brother Kerr is right that those people are unworthy to speak on certain kind of panels, about certain kind of things. I understand that. But at a certain point also, when a person can actually articulate themselves, show discipline, and are genuine in what they're saying, and also they see a value in constructive black man with constructive black woman. Brother Stanley, unfortunately, has never ever articulated that, and probably never will. Because of that, he then isn't part of what we're doing, because he might be a kumbayarist. So
I think Stanley is more of an integrationist, and I think he's demonstrated that in comments that he's made previously on this platform. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm not saying that it's not on them versus us. What I'm trying to get through to Kale is that sometimes we have to look to our brother and our sister, and we have to say, look, what you're doing is not right, and we have to take action. And that if that action is removing ourselves, then that's what we must do. And it's quite funny that for many things, when we speak to black men and we say, are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Oh no, it's impossible because white society is preventing me from doing so. But funnily enough, the only thing that not preventing you from doing it in large numbers is being with their women. And I find that very, very interesting. And it's even the same with those in the pro-black community. But what you want to happen, Kale, I think there's men like you who have the similar ilk, is what you want to happen is you want a few of you to take, I don't know, 10 to 12 black women in a nature boy type of style to some remote nomad country in Africa and live, so that you can dwell and have the women go out to work and you can have all of them servicing you. Well, you know, and this is all to your benefit. Well, how does that benefit us? And if you're honest, I think that's essentially what you're looking for. And this is the type of community that you want to create. We're not in 3000 BC. We're not going for it. So get this idea out of your head that we're going to go for this whole polygamous situation. It's never going to happen. We're too far gone, and we've too far progressed from that. And I'm sorry, we're going to have to think of another way to work as a black collective.
Now,
Okay,
sister, now
I want
you
to
guys.
say something. I want to say something, please. I've been wanting to say something. Okay, Brother Raven, I think the problem is if we don't try to really listen, we're going to constantly have the problem. So when we have talked about this, we have constantly made distinguishing factors. I've done that. I've said that if we do not raise points that are in the community in general, as black people that we've discussed on here, if women cannot have a space to talk about it, it will be heard in divestment.
Yes.
Right? I've made those terms. So to then come on and say, okay, well, if you're not saying constructive black men, if we're not saying, so on this kind of platform, we should be able, because we don't say that every time we talk, but on this topic, we have to somehow. And I think that we've had the discussions as well, is that some people, when we talk about the community, some people talk about the community like they're not within it. And some people talk as in we need to do this, not as in I think that the community needs to do this, as in I'm better. So I think I think when we're posing a question about what we're actually really asking, and the answer comes back about, well, you know, maybe it's about the way it's worded, and, you know, we've said so many times on other topics that some things have to be said, right? Because we've said the same thing about people who've come on here who might have a partner of outside a race, and we're not willing to now consider their feelings on that. If something needs to be said, it needs to be said. If it's essential to be said, we're talking about something that's an essential point. But now, on top of that, we have to distinguish every other word. Now we have to be sensitive about talking about it in a space where we are. Fiona's just said that she wants to see the ideal of the black man and black woman. We're clear of where I stand.
Yes.
So we should understand where we're going. And at no point was there an answer to the actual question. It just stuck on how it might be perceived.
Okay.
Can you see what just happened there, Brother
Now,
Raven?
so Sister Kushti, right?
Because
Sister
you
Fiona.
responded to that, Brother Raven, and I felt that that was what came back by both of you. And I'm just saying that as a sister and seeing it, and this is what I'm saying about it can be perceived as another example, because the answer of the question never really got attached. The points were about how people perceived it, feelings, how we talk, making clear distinguishing the both different groups. And this is what I'm saying. And then now it's just gotten back, and then look how the conversation then rolled into after that, because she felt that she wasn't heard. Now she's just saying, all right, just go and do a nature boy. Yeah. And this is what I'm saying, because let me finish, please, brothers. What I'm saying is, I reiterate the same thing because I'm not seeing it changed. Yes. Right? So that's the most respectful way to do it, to keep saying. So if I'm keep saying the same thing, that means it has not been addressed.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the most respectful way of saying it. Now, when you get to a point of frustration, when you get to a point of trauma, there's other ways of saying it. Okay.
No, I hear that. I hear that. And look, obviously everyone comes in there with the opinion, and the opinion is geared from the past where they've gone through it and their understanding of certain things. I've been very clear that I want to talk about these issues because, like I said, this show starts with the concept that, unfortunately, after much research, we have to agree that black people are collectively working as a team inadequate. And if that's true, then all the complaints you have here make sense. As in, yeah, because it's a byproduct of that reality, right? And we have roles to play in community. And unfortunately, yes, there has been much issues that stop the black man from doing anything. But once again, the excuse-driven black man is not what we want to focus on. Of course, like the enemies of black people are meant to do that, right? They're meant to try to stop you at every single path. You don't want to develop a defeatist attitude. You want to actually work with your allies, i.e., the black woman and the black man, and find solutions. So, uh, if there are genuine complaints or genuine challenges, then I'm personally happy to talk about them, and that's just what it is.
No, definitely, because we've said that we wanted. You've been saying that you want someone on here because most women are shy away of coming on platforms like that and speaking their utmost truth. So I feel that this is the time to just more listen than to speak. We're listening. We're not. And I also want to say that someone like myself in the same groups that disrespect black men and say that we shouldn't have no black kids, call people like me mammies and everything else, right? So anybody who is saying that they still want to make it work, and if this is Fiona's solution where she's saying that this is an option, and in the chat other people have had like-minded sayings on this, right, and saying that now there's like just separate and go away. It's just like, what I'm saying is, remember that it is a team thing. So I'm saying this within love and is in a team. But if we're going to say we want to hear it, then let's let it be that. And I think it's my responsibility of seeing where women might see things where you might not necessarily see it, if that makes sense. So remember that I get my like people like me are attacked. Women who think like me are attacked equally as well in those groups. So,
Brother Kel, what do you want to say, Brother Kel?
Yeah, here's why it will never work, brother. Unfortunately, and this is why we have to be strategically right. It's marketable and more effective that whenever an unsynchronized African talks, the people listen to him or her more than the synchronized collective, right? And unfortunately, because the unsynchronized Africans are very expressive, right, they alliterate negative emotions, which will trigger in us who are suffer from a trauma to more take on what they're saying, even though what they're saying is not in the best interest of our community. Now, we have an African spiritual system, brother, and it's called Siphorath, right? And basically it's a tree which our ancestors understood with an equation of light and voice. And the first one is Kefa, which is the source. Binah is understanding. Chakman is ruling. Javara is strength. Tifirith is beauty. Chizad is mercy. Hud is majestic. Yasad is foundation. Neska is support. And Maku is the black man and the black woman. If you remove them two, Brother Raven, which has happened to us as African people, there is an imbalance. Now, I'm not saying that we have to live what Sister Fiona was saying, that we all go into a remote place. And, what I'm saying is that because we don't understand and practice the code of conduct, if you separate, you're more likely to lean towards what the non-Africans say about us and help them. Hence why Laura Steinberg came up with the feminist movement, right? Yes. And lured the black woman away from her natural stance, which is Maku, the black man and the black woman. And then because she didn't have a code of conduct, she was helping the non-African people destroy the race. So that's why I said it was not good for us to separate. What it would be is that we separate from the unsynchronized Africans, don't let them on platforms, or the non-African people, because of their expressive, uncontrollable, unsynchronized nature. That makes any sense.
I hear where you're coming from, and I can't agree more. But what I would say is this, right? When you use the example of, say, the feminist European woman, that is actively an outsider group doing something to remove black women from black men, right? However, I think what the complaint is here, there is learned behavior from outside black men who've learned a destructive path, and it's increasing at a high ratio. And because of it, that behavior is hard for many black women to get to try to be around. So now what they're saying is they want freedom from that behavior, that behavior. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a different dynamic. Now, what I want to do is I actually want to hear the complaints, because I remember in the past you were saying about we should name and shame certain behaviors from unsynchronized black men, and I've and they were using words like coon and this kind of. And I said let's not use that here because of whatever. But the emphasis was naming and shaming behaviors that don't work for the collective. I think that can also work in this paradigm where black women are coming with requests. Now, the requests they want, from what I've heard, isn't like over the hill and far away requests. It's things like safety, providing, protecting, this kind of stuff, right? Fatherhood, manhood, this kind of stuff that is kind of like the default in other communities. Now we have plenty of men who practice this amazingly, and one of our jobs is to campaign to get those men up on every single platform, so the behavioral pattern can be observed and mimicked and this kind of stuff. But there are going to be pockets of women all over who are missing those kind of men, are missing that kind of interaction. So we want to listen to them in some capacity. Now, I don't know how that's going to take form. I'm happy for women to say on this platform, as long as they display respect and ultimately they want constructive black man, constructive black woman. Now, but what I'm saying is there's a pattern here, brother. The black women seem to be more controlled, seem to be more focused, and seem to want to be with black men, while black men, from the ones I've seen here, are quiet on articulating even this concept of constructive black man with constructive black woman. They're quiet.
But brother Raven, right? All due respect here, beloved, right? Here's why it's going to be a problem. If the black woman speaks on the issues of what she wants. First of all, brother Raven, if we shame and blame, right, the unsynchronized black men, because that's who are doing it, right?
Yes.
It will never work because, brother, there's more unsynchronized, and they will more likely to say to themselves, well, this is why we're going to go out of our race and etc. But if the black woman uses her strategy, right, and goes beyond, away from the public, and name and shame those collective Pan-Africanist groups, right, to say that they're this, right, it will be more effective because they proclaim that they are not unsynchronized, that they want to do something for the community. So it will put a light on them like, okay, if you are who you are, then can you help us? If she does that behind the doors,
But Kale, I don't know if you came in late, but I did say that this is something we should not discuss publicly. I did say that.
If they keep doing that, brother Raven, talking to the leaders of the collective, right, and it doesn't work, then they go on the panels and say, well, I went this organization and it wasn't helping me out. It'd be more effective. But she's gonna go on the podcast and say, black men, why are you not doing anything? The black men can get away with it because we're all unsynchronized, unfortunately, if that makes any sense.
I did talk to that point, though. I did say what we shouldn't discuss publicly is relationships. I did say that, and I said that black women have to come together collectively because you are not listening to us to decide on how we want to move as a group. I did say that. I didn't say we should go on podcasts.
Yeah, how you want to move, sister, with due respect, yeah. As I gave proof, and there's more proof.
Well, essentially, what you're saying to us, is don't go. Essentially, because you've realised that we've reached a boiling point now, the same boiling point that Empress Kushti was talking about, where we've had enough. And I think there is a point even in romantic relationships where you have to step away and you have to give an ultimatum. And this is your ultimatum. You're on notice. And we should have dealt with this about 20 years ago when we noticed this trend in our men.
But our ancestors didn't do that, Sister Fiona. As I said, the Black Panthers, there was a lot of things going on there, but they thought about liberating the collective first. So did the the Negro Association Improvement by the Honorable Marcus Garvey. They didn't think that way, sister. They weren't thinking about our individual issues. They thought about the collective first. What the African descendants are doing now is that, oh, this is happening to me, and they're getting distracted on these things and not thinking about our liberation. Sort the liberation first, and then we can sort out these other issues. That's what made the Black Panthers very powerful. That's what made the the Pan-Africanist movements powerful. There was always been issues, even in Africa. There's many proofs and evidence that there was sexism and there was mistreatment, but the African woman would never, ever, ever focus too much on these issues when they have enemies trying to come onto the continent to try and conquer. This is the difference between then and now. We should not separate. We should focus on our liberation first and then focus on these little issues afterwards. That's political science.
Yeah. I think the thing is about that is
hold on, sorry, before you speak, sorry about this. We did invite African Empress, and this might be the first of on the panel. We haven't actually said hi, and we don't even know what she sounds like. If it is a she,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Yeah.
Hi there.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Fiona. Hi. I just want to agree with the last guy speaking. Sorry, my screen's set up different, so I can't quite see his name. But yeah, I think he's right. We need to deal with those who want to be part of the collective once you get through the minefields, and build from there. Because we've always integrated, we've always mixed and mingled, centuries prior to any enslavement. But I think we need to focus on our community as a whole. If that means not necessarily breaking away, because once you break away, you know, we're in the age of out of sight, out of mind for 2 seconds. So I don't think we need to break away. I think we need to come together.
I think your mic might have dropped, but while you're fixing your mic, Empress Kushti was in the middle of something. So carry on. Sorry about that, but just
no, that's okay. I'll probably just speak to what the sister's point of what she said, and I definitely was on that. Well, I thought that going through, but I'm just, what we're witnessing is that it's difficult to happen, and I think that's why it's resulted as what is happening now with the different options that different mindsets of women are having.
Well,
I do kind of, I was just
because of what you just said there. Is it permissible to have this conversation, say on a what you would call it, a Discord, right? As in, like, because I assume the issue is publicly speaking about these issues, right? But in only Black groups, should we be discussing this then? So before we get to this point, should we? Because right now we haven't really got the infrastructure. It's only now it's come together. Now Black people can connect on networks easily with, and it's just dedicated to Caribbean African networks, whatever, and we can talk. And we should we be speaking on those? Is that permissible? Would you women and men be willing to talk about these issues there, or should we just not talk about these issues? Period.
Brother, you see how you have in your Black Betterment PDF, you have a thing called off code, right?
Yes.
Now, the Discord, right, and these other types of servers and that, they should be training base and training solution, right? Preparation for when we do come on the Black Betterment podcast, right? That we say certain things which the community needs to hear and what we're going to do, instead of the other stuff which is going to cause distraction, right? Because as I said to you before, brother, is that unfortunately, as what Sister Kushti says, right, a lot of the African females and African males, right, because they do not understand a code of conduct, right, they're going to display their feelings, emotions, imaginations. Do you understand? I'll give you an example, Brother Raven, right? When you go into a lift, there is a code of conduct that you can take anywhere on the planet. You go into a lift, you look straight, don't look at anyone intimidating, don't have certain types of body movements because you're in a confined space. Do you understand? You can take that anywhere. Now, with the code of conduct, right, is that if you take on the principles of African family first, doesn't matter what color you are, right? Second, self-determination, right? Third, Africa is for the Africans. Fourth, if you are going to make an image of the creator, right, then the creator, it should look like you if you are going to do that. You understand? Instead of displaying on code of conduct, which is going to lead to attacking. Now, Sister Fiona, all due respect to her, I understand where she's coming from. She's reached a level, just like a lot of us, where she's had enough of the black community. The black community, unfortunately, have failed all of us. You understand? Completely failed all of us. So she's reached a level where it's like, we cannot rely on the black man. I myself, Brother Raven, and even yourself, we have been let down by the African woman many times, whether it be family members or relationships, right? But it doesn't make me say to myself, give up on the black woman because some black women have let me down. What the black woman does, brother, all due respect to her, is that the moment the black men are doing something which they shouldn't be doing, she focuses on that negative energy and loses the hope due to the fact of her feelings and her emotion oversees the code of conduct. And this is not from Africa, because I said to you already, but we have tons of proof. The African females had to put the black man in his place. Queen Adewale in Somalia had to do it. Queen Nzenga had to do it, but they didn't let their emotions go over the code of conduct when it came to non-African people trying to destroy the continent. This is the issue I have with the African females of today. Code of conduct before emotions and feelings in all things, all due respect to all.
Are you not going to distinguish? No, is that just all African females?
Well, no,
I distinguished though. I did.
He's saying those that are unsynchronized, basically, who are taking part in this behavior. But I just want to say that it's not emotion and the feeling. At this point, we're seeing the action that's being taken by black men. It's not just based on feeling. We've seen the actions that are taking place.
Correct. Can I just add?
Go ahead.
Wouldn't the code of conduct, principally start at women not being made to catch feelings? There's a lot of cheating, a lot of, polygamy is more structurized.
Exactly. What's the reason?
Links. Yeah, we have links in the UK. What's the reason? That's it. Why would a woman be so triggered and be in her feelings if code of conduct was on point?
Thank you very much.
I kind of feel like you've given an excuse for when men go out and about and cheat and the woman's caught in her feelings. That's the way I've kind of taken it.
Yes, exactly what he did. Exactly.
Yeah.
So one thing. Hold on, before you answer, Brother Kel, because unfortunately this is a panel that we're not getting answers. So what I'm pushing for is this, right? Is it permissible for us to talk about this topic in a Discord, or is this topic forbidden to talk about?
I think until we are able and trained to be able to talk about this topic in a constructive way, like we are with many other topics, because it's been done, we have to do this in a back house,
right?
Just for the sake of getting it all out, which might just be a bit too much for because if you really want to get to this, the honest truth is that the honest truth is ugly,
right? So in that case,
and I'm not sure that it needs to be done in public, in private, and I think people with ears that can be able to hear it can then, when we get to the point, then we can transfer it onto a panel or public in a structured way. But
So we're going to set up an in-house talk about these grievances that have mounted from black women towards black men, and we're going to try to find solutions for that. But this, because we don't know how it's going to unpack, we're going to do this in a Discord and not live on the stream.
Can I say also, this has a lot of historical facts, evidence, and key moments in history. Yeah. So I think this is going to be a wider discussion.
I agree. But just so you know,
Yeah.
just so you know, from the strategy I apply, right? Me personally, regardless of how ugly or pretty the truth is, it's necessary in the sense of I use a strategy that people who are alcoholics, they go to Alcoholics Anonymous, whatever, and they sit in a circle where they say, "My name's Jim or Joe, and I'm an alcoholic." And by admitting that truth, it allows them to work towards a solution of being better because they recognize the shortcoming. So if there are shortcomings in the black community, I'm more than happy to highlight them, whether it's done underground or overground, so that while we highlight it, we have it as a pillar to work from because we know we're trying to improve. You see, I don't think make believe works. So if it isn't make believe, then let's try to deal with truth. But I respect the wishes of not wanting to air out certain topics, maybe, and I will respect that, and I will try to find platforms to do that. But brothers and sisters, this is how now is a 3 hour and 40-minute show. I've just been informed a few weeks ago that we only have a limited time, a month, to air. So if we keep doing 4 hour shows, it will cut off, right? So I'm gonna cut it now, but we're gonna continue next week, I guess. But I don't know if we can arrange some kind of talk on Discord for us to all talk and try to find solutions on that. I'm doing this.
Brother,
Go ahead, brother Kel.
all I'm saying is, brother, we should focus on the liberation instead of issues which are going to cause distraction and division, brother. All due respect to the sister, what I feel, I think, may not be the reality of it, right? And as I said, there's many proofs and evidence that the African woman put her feelings aside and pushed the conduct for the liberation. If she's done that, which she did, we must do that now. The European woman does it, the Asian woman does it, the Middle Eastern woman all do it. We African woman, the teacher of that, so she must be able to do it as well as the African man too. All due respect.
I think it's a concept that's solid, but once again, I'm dealing with the particulars. So there are particulars that I might be aware of, and through hearing these particulars behind closed doors, maybe the solution is more easy than we thought. But without hearing the particulars, I can't make a conclusion, right? So I respect the concept of there is something that shouldn't be said out in public. I can understand this. However, if black women have something they wish to say and they feel they cannot, let us create a circumstance where they can. You know, whatever that might be. Yeah. This is how I'm going to run it. I understand that people will disagree and maybe people think it's a waste of time. However, let us go with it and let us see the outcome. If the outcome is terrible, a lesson is learned. But if the outcome breeds for solution, then there is a learned thing we can do to apply it to a new tomorrow, right? But guys, can everyone? I guess I hope you all. I think we're all in the same groups after. So, using the ladies, could we try to organize a speech, even if it's just me and you guys? I'm happy with that. Preferably with black people who understand the value of constructive black man, constructive black woman. If they don't confess that or agree to that, they might not be worthy enough for the conversation. And I mean that in the most true sense. So in that case, I'm gonna have to call it end. So can everyone give their final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up and we'll try to organize it off. Matter of fact, hold on, I can just end the show. I can just end the show, and we can talk. Right, I forgot about that. So what I'm gonna do, can everyone just say their final goodbyes and take 1 minute each? I'll be back in 7 seconds to say your final goodbyes, and then I'm gonna end the show, and then we can talk slightly offline about what we're saying. Right? How do I mute that?
Where's the offline account, please?
We'll discuss it in a bit. Let's see your final thought.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't stay on.
I think I got that A on. Okay. I caught the last 45 minutes of that, and I was barely listening. But what I did catch was constructive conversations with a view to work to constructive, feasible outcomes. So I'm hoping to join the talk again and give my points of view, and hopefully they're working towards a change in our society, our communities. our globe. Yeah, that's what I can say, really. Thank you.
Anyone else before I press end? Don't leave, everyone. I'm just going to press end for the broadcast. So I guess let's just everyone say goodbye. I guess for next week. Goodbye, everyone. We'll speak to you guys next week. Do not disconnect. And that we're going to end it now. 10 o'clock next week. Black Betterment.